It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games.
Hey, it's 10 a.m. and this is Utah's best sports radio.
Say my name.
You're locked on to Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaCombe.
You're damn right.
Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, let's get it, folks. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Out and about today, it is Tim Daly, Nissan, Southtown. Come by, hang out with us just west of I-15, in between that 106, 114 South exit. It's really easy to find. I got some great Nissans ready to go for you. We're going to chat with our guy Tyler coming up a little bit later on. But we are getting very close to our first week of the Scotty and Coach Show under wraps, man. You know what? It's gone way smoother than I would have thought of.
That's good for me to hear. The only thing I can do is be me. So that's what I'll try to continue to do. I think we're having a good time. We've already had some killer guests this week, and that'll be something I think we'll lean into.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know, Scotty Gerard's network is vast, and I've met a few people myself.
Yes.
So we can get some folks on. We've gotten crazy good texts this week. That's the thing I'm most excited about is there are people listening and people that say, hey, I like what I hear.
And that's what's been great, too, is the feedback. It's been awesome. You can tell that you've had a lot of good impact on a lot of people out there in terms of those personal relationships throughout the years because the amount of support we've been getting has been awesome. So, fired up.
Well, I would say the same for you. I told you this yesterday off air, but I'll tell you now because I want our listeners. The media is kind of a funny business, and there's little factions, and, it's almost like Anchorman, the newsrooms.
Yeah.
But there, having been not necessarily affiliated with, I was kind of doing my own thing and jumping in here and there. First and foremost, they say, if you're going to work in the business, work for KSL.
Yep.
And then if you're also going to work in the business, a great co-host that has zero enemies out there, my guy Scott Gerard. Well, I mean,
maybe a couple,
yeah. but like such a minuscule. It's like the margin for error on stuff.
It's funny. I remember when I got a phone call from our guy Chris Barney, and this was back in 21,
and
October
Chris is
of
the
21.
Chief Revenue Officer for the SEG, and
pretty much has his keys to the kingdom over there. And I remember he called me one night. He's like, "Hey, I'm just giving you a heads up. SEG, we're gonna hand the station off to somebody else." And I was like, oh, boy. I go, please tell me it's Bonneville. Please tell me it's KSL. And he's like, it's KSL. I'm like, bam. All right, let's go. We're good.
That was a good news day for you?
That was. It went from being a really scary day to an awesome day because they've been awesome through this process and fired up to have you aboard and can't wait to get it going for week number 2 and a long time after that. All right, so we've got a really busy show. Our good friend Barret Peery is going to join us coming up at 11:30, correct?
Yes, he is. And Barret just hired by Utah State, and we'll be you'll see him a ton.
I'm fired up.
Yeah, you guys can actually
That's a dude I want to hang with on the road.
Yeah, he's got great stories and met so many people along the way. I talked the other day about he's been just about everywhere there is to be. That Johnny Cash tune.
Yeah, I've been everywhere.
He's the college version of that. He's been in just about everywhere, but brings a wealth of experience, knows Utah basketball inside and out, is connected, which is the number one thing. And he'll serve the Aggies well. He's already kind of making inroads. He's got a great association with Jeff Reinert, the head coach at College of Southern Idaho.
I love CSI, man. Jumping Joey Johnson back in the day.
That's right. Took a quarter right off the top of the backboard.
Yep. That's where I had my first love of college basketball.
CSI?
Was going to CSI games. We didn't go to Idaho State games. We didn't go to Boise State games. We went to CSI games.
And those places, that was like packed, right?
Yeah, and
yoked.
And I think because that was where a lot of coaches were sending some of the kids they needed to get qualified down to. So the talent there was more often than not way better than what was at the Big Sky schools. in the area.
Yeah, they're D1 players that just couldn't get the
grades
nod.
weren't a high priority for them. Let's just say that.
They had life issues.
Yeah, so where are you going to stash them? You send them to Twin Falls, Idaho. So I grew up watching a lot of junior college basketball. So in fact, Utah State just signed a kid out of CSI, and a kid that played at, was it Bingham or?
Alta.
Okay. Yeah. South Jordan kid.
Tough kid. Dash riser, comes from you want to talk about a basketball family. This is, you talk about a nuclear basketball family. This one is, everybody in that family is basketball oriented, and he really impressed me in high school. He's a fierce competitor. He gets after you. I told you off air, he's a retro Aggie. He reminds me of that killer guy like Tyler Newbold.
Oh, I love Tyler. Tyler listens, by the way. Hey, Tyler, what's up?
Yeah, Ty's one of my guys. We had one of the more epic contests at Payson High School one night where it was sold out, and it came down to one bucket, and we lost, and Tyler won, and he reminds me of that from time to time.
Was that Lone Peak, or where were we at that, or American Fork?
That was at American Fork.
Okay.
Yeah, we had some killer battles, and then we played in the state tournament as well. So he's phenomenal, but he has that quality that you see through the kind of the Aggie sinew. There's that fierce, tough. Mason Falslev is one of those guys that I'd throw in that category. So homegrown guy that had tons of success at CSI. He's All-American, correct?
Yep.
And so I saw him young, and I think he'll be a really good ad for the Aggies.
So we'll talk to Barret Peery coming up. We'll talk a little hockey. Jay Stevens expected to join us coming up at 1:05. And then also we look forward to chatting with, we mentioned Jay Stevens, and then looks like Travis Yost from TSN. We'll talk some hockey with him coming up at 11:05. So, yeah, hockey's on the mind of everybody. So let's get to it. Starting lineup right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's time to kick off the show with the biggest headlines of the day. This is your starting lineup on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, starting lineup right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We got a couple things to talk about because, in thinking about the show this morning, there's two major topics I think that really hit home today. First off, epic night for the University of Utah. First time ever they had two players taken in the first round. And how about the fact that they were your two bookends of your offensive line? Caleb Lomu ends up going late. He gets to go to the New England Patriots, so that doesn't suck for him. Diana Rossini with the breaking news on that one. Oh, sorry. My bad.
Too soon.
Too soon.
Way too soon, actually. They're still resolving issues.
Okay. All right.
I like the fact you go for the jug, though.
Well, why not? It's somewhat of a topic
Friday.
These days. I talked to so there are so many people that are in the middle of this from they love the tabloid aspect of this. Like, people that don't really care about sports are like, tell me about the coach of the Patriots. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I don't care about this stuff.
Oh, it's yeah.
But boy, people are eating this stuff up.
Well, the crazy thing to me is that they kind of did the release of photos and waves.
Yes.
And he just kept kind of. It's almost like he was in an interrogation room, and he didn't really know what they had on him. So he was like not going to give too much. And yeah, that second release and the timing of it and everything, just tough. On a human level, it's absolutely brutal for everybody involved, and everybody loves when there's
a little juice.
Little juice. Yeah, that's unfortunately that's what we run with.
And then you got Spencer Fano going to the Cleveland Browns. So I'm glad that he was a top 10 pick. I do feel bad for him that he goes to Cleveland, but you know what? The money spends the same regardless.
Yeah, the money spends the same, and Cleveland is one of those places that just can't get out of the mire. They were actually pretty good when I was younger.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Bernie Kosar, Webster Slaughter years.
Ernest Biner
fumbled at the one. I remember it well.
Anyhow, it's amazing. It's amazing that the University of Utah, to me, that with all the good players they've had, that this is the first time there's been two first-round picks. But definitely monumental. It's a great momentum thing, I would say, for Morgan Scalley and the program. And the key is now to keep that pipeline rolling. And Utah's been, as you said yesterday, one of the big reasons Caleb Lohner is there, because he spent time at the University of Utah learning to play tight end. They loved his physique, but it was the things he picked up, from Freddie Whittingham and the guys there. And so he's, the Utah is well thought of, and they put out there a great player. The
problem was last night, everybody, I was flipping back between the NFL Network and ESPN, and there was a lot of shout-outs to Jim Harding. And rightfully so. Jim Harding was the one that got him, coached him up, developed him into who they are right now. So he does deserve credit. But the problem is they don't say Jim Harding at Utah anymore. They say Jim Harding in Michigan. And so it feels like the curse of Kyle just can't seem to wash that off for Utah, because you got two kids wearing Utah jerseys, Utah helmets, and what keeps coming up? University of Michigan. And it's like, this would be a great moment for Utah to be really able to sink their teeth into it and say, look what we did. Look what we did. And everybody's like, yeah, they're coached now at the University of Michigan with Kyle Whittingham. It's like, oh, man. Because if you're a kid and you're like, all right, I want to go in the NFL. I want to be a first rounder. What's a coach that's going to get me there? Jim Harding. All right, where's he at? No, he's in Michigan. But this is also a time for Jordan Gross, who spent a ton of time in the NFL. Obviously, his resume is ridiculous. Many Pro Bowls, many All-American or first-team All-Star. Like, the dude has a tremendous resume. And so at that point, you just got to be like, look, guess what? I played. I made it to the league. I was successful in the league. I can help you do the same. We can get you there from the University of Utah. You don't need to go somewhere crazy to get there. You don't need to go to Alabama. They didn't have 2 offensive linemen go in the first round. We did. So you can come here. You can have a great collegiate experience. You can get the money. You can get all the things you want. You can get the coaching, and we can put you in the league.
Yeah, and you know what the hardest part about it is? All that stuff right now is, there's no track record. There's no data.
Yes.
The only way, and this is one of my dumb quotes, but it's proved to be very true through the years. The only way through is through. I mean, you can't imagine – and you can't fast forward time to where you have your street cred. Yeah. You have to just day by day build it. And the great thing that Morgan Scalley's got going for him is his mindset.
Yeah.
I follow him on Twitter, and he posts so many quotes, and it shows kind of where his mind is. But I can promise you this, he's not caught up with where Jim Harding is.
No.
He is fully 100% basically getting his ship ready to go out to sea. And but it's got to go out there and it's got to weather the storms, and it's got to make sure that the plug's in there so it doesn't sink, but the only way through is through. And so Morgan Scalley, Jordan Gross, phenomenal at everything they've done to this point, and now they take a step up and they're in a new position. The data would say to me, because of who they are, they're going to be really successful, but you don't know that till you get out there. And I do think for basically all of the good that Kyle, Urban, Mac, the U, and putting guys in the NFL, I think that will still hold the day. That the University of Utah puts guys in the NFL. And I think Morgan will continue to recruit guys that will go there. And, we'll still be talking about the success of Utah in the NFL.
I think there are 2 main figures that you look at and say, as long as they're there, Utah will always be Utah. And that's Morgan Scalley and Shreve Shaw.
100%.
As long as those 2 dudes are connected to the University of Utah program, there's no reason to think that program will be run any differently, that the success level will change dramatically. Those are 2 pillars and 2 institutions for Utah football, not only as coaches but as players as well. That Utah blood runs through their veins. If they're in charge, which they are, and I think Sharif has a very, very big say as a consultant to Morgan. I think as long as those 2 are there, I don't think there's any drop off.
No, I'm with you. They know the road. They know that they've gotten great advice and mentoring from incredible coaches that have come through, and they're prepared.
Yes,
I guess that's the most important thing. And if you're prepared and you throw it out there, most of the time you're going to be successful.
How hard was it when Steve Cleveland had it going, and then I don't want to say there was slippage, but it came back down to earth a hair. He ends up going to Fresno State. When Dave Rose took over, was there any doubt that Dave could get that thing back on track? Because same thing, he was a consultant. I mean, not a consultant. He was a coordinator. He was on that staff, so he was a guy that was part of the program, part of the culture, but he seemed to elevate it when he took over.
He did. He had a mindset that was, I guess, kind of dreaming bigger than what had been there. Mm-hmm. And in his mind, down the road, he saw trips to the tournament and wins, and he saw the ability to build the program, outside of just this regional area. He saw the practice facility, in his grand vision of things. And so I think because he had a vision, he was prepared. He had been a head coach at Dixie. You talk about coaching guys that couldn't get into D1s. I mean, he was basically the stash ground for UNLV for a few years. Coach Keon Clark down there.
Yes.
And many other great players. But no, I think the people inside that watched it, much like at Utah, they knew Dave was ready. They knew he had the stuff and that he could lead, but that vision was really important. And I know that's, you just have to listen to Morgan talk for a few minutes, and he's got vision.
There's
no doubt about that.
Other big story of the day as we bring you your starting lineup right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Playoff game number 3 coming up tonight. It's the Utah Mammoth squaring off against the Vegas Golden Knights. The Mammoth able to get a Game 2 victory, come back to Salt Lake with the series split at 1 game apiece. I'm going to be there with the old media credential, sitting down and trying not to be a fan, but just be that impartial media member. I don't know if I can or not, but I'm fired up to be there because I think this is going to be a spectacular event.
Well, I'm not even going to try the press pass thing because I couldn't do that. I told you I was in the fetal position the last 14 seconds of the game the other night. I literally laid on the floor no. So I've become quite entrenched with this Mammoth team. It is a Mammoth Friday.
Yes.
First playoff game in history, and I walked outside, and you can feel it in the air on days like this. The Utah-BYU game, you walk outside, you can feel it. When you're playing an in-state battle, we're going up to Logan, you walk outside, you can feel it. There's a vibe to me in the air, and, they're going to have a party on the plaza all day long, so make sure you get down there. There's going to be all sorts of things. I guess the Zamoth is pulled out on the plaza for people
really?
to see. Yeah.
Nice.
So get down there and soak in the festivities. These things only happen, the first time only happens once. So go down there, and if you don't have tickets, be a part of it. But on that ticket theme,
we have tickets. We will be giving away tickets sometime throughout the show today. Now, this isn't for tonight's game.
Right.
Just keep in mind, if you're thinking, well, geez, I've already got plans for tonight, this is for Monday's game.
Well, if you have plans for tonight, that's good because we do not have plans for you tonight.
Yes.
Monday, we can put you up in a really nice seat.
Yes. So we will. And by the way, these are lower bowl 2 tickets to Game 4 that we have available that we will give away throughout the show. But keep listening. I'm not giving them away now. Lloyd is not here today. Shocker. One thing you're going to know about Lloyd, very heavy-handed with his opinion, likes to run things with an iron fist. But that all takes place when he's here. Those days are few and far between. He actually he has more vacation days than work days. I don't know how he worked that into his contract, but good for him.
Well, he's an important member of the team. We did learn he has through our subterfuge, he has a plaque that he parks. He has a number. He's a big dude. And so, he has a lot of pressure. I'm sure like today, he just goes and releases that pressure. But I would like to look into one of those deals too.
What, the number parking lot or the vacation days?
All of the above. Check E. All of the above. That was my go-to when I didn't know the answer.
All of them are correct. By the way, fired up about Logan Cooley. Look, the dude's just 21 years old. First American player to have goals in his first 2 playoff games since some guy named Logan Cooley did it. Clayton Keller did it. So there's so many cool things about what he's doing, what this team is doing, and I got to imagine this team's puffing their chest out a little bit coming home. Now, you can't get the old Pat Riley disease of me. You can't get caught up in that, but you got to make sure that you play well. But there should be a lot of confidence from this team.
I totally agree. You watch those games, and these teams look pretty evenly matched. Obviously, the physicality, that's what the Mammoth are trying to deal with, and the way they deal with that is good decision-making. You can't turn the puck over, but more importantly, to be able to get that thing outletted, get up the ice with your speed.
Yes.
So it's really the speed versus physicality. And the Mammoth, I thought they really, really outplayed Vegas all night the other night. And they played right with them in game one. That little blip in the third period is what it is, and that's hockey.
So in basketball, is it easier to speed a game up or slow it down?
It's probably easier to slow it down.
And I wonder if that applies to hockey too.
Yeah, I wonder too. Positioning wise, like you've got you think about the things you can do. You've got that shot clock, and especially if the other team isn't a big pressure team oriented team.
Yeah.
You can really, like St. Mary's is a perfect example. Yeah. They basically, they're not stalling, but they're being crazy selective, and they're using the clock to their advantage.
They've got that Norman Dell, 4 passes before a shot.
The problem with playing fast and forcing the game fast is if you're trying to play faster than the other team, you're probably going to make mistakes, right? And you take tough shots, which lead to transition the other way. So everything has to be cooked into your plan.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The biggest name.
You're locked on to Scotty G and the coach, Tim Lacombe, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, 1034. Out and about today, Tim Daly, Nissan Southtown. That's Tim Daly, Nissan Southtown. Come on by, just test drive one of these vehicles and see how great these Nissans are. Tyler and the crew, the great thing, this is a massive building, huge inventory, but when you walk in, your family, you're treated like gold. You're treated like one of the dudes. Come by, talk a little sports. They'll make sure you get taken care of. All right, Scott Gerard, the coach, Tim Lacombe, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, and the NFL Draft. Not a lot of surprises, but yeah, you finally get your quarterback, Fernando,
he celebrated with the family.
Yes,
that was very nice. Looked like a nice big old gathering. I like that he bucked the trend.
I do too.
I think that sends a nice message of, hey, I am who I am. I'm going to do what I do. And he's a guy who, everybody talks about his leadership qualities, his ability to connect to people. So those the Raider fans should be pretty excited. And it sounds like there is a renewed focus to try to get out of the mire, and the fact that I'm now on board. I mean, I hate to say it, but like the Red Sox, okay, I've been a fan my whole life, so I weathered all that storm.
Yeah.
I had a buddy who was a Cubs fan, and the year the Cubs were right there on the doorstep.
I'm a Cubs guy.
Okay. So,
I remember the Bartman series very well.
Well, you owe your thank you for getting over the hump to me.
Okay.
Because he literally said, come with me to the NLCS. Went out there, bought a jersey. I got an Ernie Banks jersey.
Nice. Good choice.
I've actually got a little thing I bought out there. I felt inspired to buy, and it said reverse the curse. It was a little bead necklace.
All right.
I wore that the entire playoffs after getting home. Rest is history.
I remember, I think we were interviewing you.
It was all me.
And no, you should take credit for it. And I think we had you on the air, and you had posted a picture of you wearing your Cubs gear. And I remember being like, hey, Tim, I'm a Cubs fan. You're a Cubs fan. You're like, no, I'm a Cubs. I was a rented Cubs fan.
Yeah, I was just helping them.
Yeah. But deep down, it's all about the Red Sox. What was 04 like for you?
Oh, my gosh. I was sitting. The craziest thing is leading up to it. I actually I was working as an art agent at the time.
Really?
One of my lives.
Wow.
And I just delivered a piece of art, a bronze sculpture up to Ketchum, Idaho.
Nice. I know Ketchum well.
Sun Valley, beautiful spot. But it was in the middle of the, it was fall. And that night, the night that Schilling
the
had
bloody
the bloody
sock.
sock. I was sitting in a restaurant in Ketchum, Idaho.
Probably paying way too
much for my meal.
Yeah.
But we watched it there, drove home the next day, and then watched Game 7. So the whole lead up to it was chaos. But I literally sat in a darkened room with my son and my daughter, and I was rocking my daughter, and they freaking won the game. And it was just like, wow.
Because you knew as soon as you got Game 7, you were going to win the World Series.
I did. Yeah, it was kind of that. I tell you, that vibe you get.
Yeah.
That feeling, and I feel it outside today.
You come down from 0-3, you beat the Yankees of all people.
I mean, the way they did it, too. What Robert steals the base,
Yeah.
right? And, I mean, it's just within an eyelash of being out. And then Poppy was just unbelievable, that series. Just clutch hit after clutch hit after clutch hit. You ever been to Fenway?
I've not been to Fenway.
Okay. You got to go to Fenway. We'll do that.
I've done Wrigley a couple times, but I've not been to Fenway.
When we get, a little more, when I get a little more street cred, when I get up to your level, maybe they'll let us go out and do a, series from Boston.
Do a show from Boston. I'm all about, look, when Utah gets their Major League Baseball team, we're going to have to travel around with the team.
Absolutely. So let's get a lay of the land, and with this video aspect,
Oh, yeah.
you could do a little restaurant guide thing in Boston too. That wouldn't be bad.
So when you've got there were a couple little surprises. Jeremiah Love going third, a little bit of a surprise, but this is the one that really threw me for a loop. Is you've got the Rams, who are right there on the cusp. They're just a player or two away from a chance to really cement themselves as a Super Bowl team. They're close already, but they could have used a really good playmaker to get them over the hump and get them back into Super Bowl, and yet they draft the quarterback of the future in Ty Simpson. And Ty Simpson is a very raw quarterback, so I understand the thought process. You like the kid. You're like, okay, this is cool. And everybody apparently told Stafford, you're the quarterback as long as you want to be the quarterback. This kid will wait. And that's great. That's nice. And I'm sure everybody's doing kumbaya. Everybody's happy. But the fact is, you could have used a really dynamic player to get you over the hump, a playmaker. So if I'm Stafford, I'm like, all right, well, you just drafted my replacement. Even though you're telling me all the right things, you just drafted my replacement, and you, in doing so, kept me away from potentially, a wide receiver or somebody that could have helped me on offense get this team into a Super Bowl.
Well, Josh Edwards came on yesterday, and he said that very thing when talking about the Rams. He said they're one player away, and he'd expected it to be a skill player that could play right away and make an impact so they could make a push. And so I think that was the thought process. When you look at Sean McVay and his reaction to it all,
didn't look happy.
Did not look happy in the least, because I think his mind was, he's trying to figure out how we're going to win week 2 and week 7 this year. And I saw something on Twitter that was funny, but it's true. What the Rams did is what rich people do. They've got enough now. And so they're going to put some money away for a later time.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is, like you said, Stafford, and they are so good. But man, an addition, and the fact that they kind of got that pick. I mean, that was through the trade, so it was that one time to make a pop. And I think that, to me, everything was kind of going okay. I get it, and I'd heard Love at 3 possibly, and when you see him run, you can see why they took him at 3. But at the end of the day, that was the one. At 13, I was, what in the world did they just do?
Makes no sense. Absolutely made no sense. And I think it was a huge mistake, because you can say all the right things. Look, the Packers, when Brett Favre was the quarterback and they drafted Aaron Rodgers, said all the right things, but it was an ugly situation for Aaron Rodgers. And how does he repay it? Well, 15 years later, when he's in the same situation and they draft Jordan Love, he makes Jordan Love's life a living hell. And he's mad because they didn't take a player that could have got him over the hump. And now we're seeing it in L.A. I'm sure, again, everybody's going to say all the right things, even though the body language of Sean McVay shows that he was very much not on board with this. But still, I can't imagine that life's going to be particularly easy in that locker room for Ty Simpson. No,
it's a tough way to start. I mean, my mind goes back to, the whole drama between Montana and Young back in the day.
Oh, there you go. There's another one.
And I, having grown up a BYU fan, I kind of suffered through. Gifford Nielsen went to the Oilers. And as a kid, I wanted him to play so bad. But Dan Pastorini was, he kind of held Gifford off. And Giff never really became, that guy that I thought he could be. And then when Young got put in the situation, he's behind friggin' Montana. And you hear all the stories that come out then, but you hear more now that they do. They're not happy about situations like that because they do. I mean, it'd be like, KSL calling and saying, hey, we're going to bring a third guy in. And he's just going to, he's going to be around, and we'll see what we do. I mean, you just, why you bring, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a change to routine. But that quarterback, particularly on the back end of their career, is thinking, give me something right this second that can help me get another championship. And at the end of the day, the Rams chose to do something else.
And it doesn't appear like it involved the head coach. And that's what's really interesting, because not only may have ticked off your starting quarterback, you may have ticked off your head coach, too.
No question. I mean, he looks he couldn't even look at the camera.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the video of it, and then his comments about, did you have a chance to talk to Ty? Yeah, we talked for a minute. What did he say? We'll keep that between us. He had nothing that he wanted to do more than just the bare minimum of what you have to say.
Certainly a surprise, and it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out for sure. I love the drama. As a non-Rams fan, as a guy that has no skin in the game, I thought it made for great television.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It was great drama.
And you love that. I mean, I got kind of the Lemon kid, Mekhi Lemon, when he got called.
Yeah.
And he came up and he was kind of bobbing and weaving like Stevie Wonder, He had the glasses on and, you definitely, you watch it to see where guys go, but there is all sorts of drama in, watching mom hold girlfriend off so she can't get a hug in.
Like, you're going to get replaced here pretty soon anyway, so.
Yeah, there's a major game within the game. You just got to be, it's like, where's Waldo? You got to know where to look.
Oh, yeah, and it's pretty easy to see. Then you got the agent that's just like, I need to get some FaceTime so I can get some more clients out of this. You got,
shaking hands.
Yeah, like, hey, that's me.
And the hangers on that want to have their special handshake.
Yeah,
we need to get one of those.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I like that. I like that. Start before a show, like the.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, but it was great drama. I love the NFL draft. Like, you remember, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago when CeeDee Lamb got drafted. And his girlfriend tried to pick up his cell phone, and he's like rips it away from her, like, "Nope, you don't get.
You're not going through that.
Nope, you're going to be as far away from that as possible." And and then you got the high school or college girlfriend that like, "Oh, this is so great," and deep down like, yeah, it ain't gonna last for you.
Who is our guy? He's the quarterback, Will Levis.
Will Levis
or Will Levis?
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
I call him Levi's. He hasn't played, so I can call him whatever I want. I collect football cards,
Okay.
So, I'm very familiar with old Levi's. That's like a Jake Scott thing. Jake would name him Levi's.
Yeah, he would. Yeah.
No, but his draft
He'd call him 502s or something.
Remember how he kept sliding?
Yeah.
And his draft and his girlfriend was just, the more he slid, she was kind of like, I don't know if I picked the right guy. I thought for sure you'd be a first 10 picks.
They have since broken up. And who's she with now? She's with some other
She
football
dated
player.
some guy that was in the top 10.
Yeah. She's like moseys on over to the green room to somebody else's table.
What's the old adage? Chicks dig the long ball, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. What you may have missed coming up next right here on The Zone.
The Jazz, the Mammoth, and the Utes, Cougars, and Aggies. When it comes to sports in Utah, we've got you covered. This is Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaCoe, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You ever watch these guys in concert?
Never did. Larry Kristoviak owes me one, though.
Oh, yeah?
Because his bass player is a childhood friend. And so Larry goes to about 10 to 15 shows a year and gets backstage passes. And he's told me, I'm going to say this publicly, that he'll take me. So I'm waiting my turn.
All right, Larry.
See, that's the benefit. People, that's a hell of a story. The Larry Kristoviak, Dave Rose saga. The night there was a fight, or Nick Emery threw a punch, and Brandon Taylor all night long was crazy agitator, doing all stuff behind the whistle and the things that happened. And so Nick got to a point where he like we all do, he popped. And so basically the whole thing, the rivalry gets kind of stalled because of this, and there is not a lot of great feelings between Dave and Larry.
Yes. Yeah.
But as I tend to do, I kind of...
You're a mediator.
I mediated. I what I did is I got to know Larry out recruiting after the fact, and I was shocked that he, with a BYU logo, he'd even give me the time of day, but he was cool. So we visited, and I got to know him a little bit, and we became buddies. And when Larry, right as soon as he got done at Utah, there was a Dave Matthews show, and he and I went out to it one night and had a heck of a time. But the whole point of my story is, the bridge wasn't burned, thank God. I was able to kind of coax the thing together, and wouldn't you know that the day that Coach Rose had his heart attack, one of the first people to call was Larry Krystowiak.
That's awesome.
That's kind of the story that nobody knows, that now you do.
But now you know.
So that really the red-blue thing, it shouldn't be, it's not life or death.
No, absolutely not. This segment brought to you by Paris RV, the huge RV blowout sale going on now through Saturday. So you have today and tomorrow at the Provo Town Center, 10 a.m. to dusk. They got used RVs from all over the country. They've been sent to that Provo Town Center with millions of dollars of high-quality inventory. Don't miss it right now at UtahRVEvent.com. All right, so NBA action last night. How about the Hawks?
I had a feeling they were going to do that.
Who knew C.J. McCollum would turn into a villain all of a sudden?
Well, the crazy thing, that dude's always had game.
Oh, yeah.
You think about, and really was playing off of Dame all that time, but he showed it in college at Lehigh. The first time I saw him, I was like, what in the world? This guy, and he shows it last night. It's his ability to get through tight spaces, navigate tight spaces, be, so tight with the ball, but then his multiple finish angles and making big shot after big shot. I'm a huge CJ fan, and it's cool. To me, I like it so much because Atlanta struggled for so many years trying to let Trae Young lead that organization. And Trae Young was taking that organization nowhere. I mean, he was, as long as he got his, 28 and, people, you can just see when guys aren't team guys.
Yes. Yeah.
And the minute that guy gets out of there, and and you think, okay, well, the Hawks are going to not be very well. No, they have really played well and been one of the hottest teams since the trade.
Yeah, and C.J. McCollum, I think there was a stretch there where people were like, he's still in the league, and then it's like, oh yeah, he very much is in the league, and he's dominating in this series.
Well, and Jalen Johnson's such a man. That kid's a talent, and just really starting to become who he is. Guys, the playoffs where you make your name.
Yeah.
So it's awesome to see. That's a fun series. The Knicks have a ton of expectation, and the Hawks seem to be playing on house money.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing
The best radio in Utah is right here. This is Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaCombe, on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Let's talk some hockey. Travis Yost from TSN, kind enough to hang out with us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Game 3 of the Mammoth and the Golden Knights coming up later tonight. You'll hear it right here on the Zone. As Travis, we got ourselves a series on our hands, all tied up at 1 apiece. Just how impressed were you with the Mammoth in Game 2?
For Game 3 tonight, too, so I'm excited to see what this looks like, but I think Utah, this is a very competitive series. I thought it would go 7 games. I think Utah can still win this series, but I think the biggest takeaway is Utah did not look like a plucky underdog in Vegas. They looked like a very game team, and yeah, there were moments in the first 2 games, especially against Vegas's top line, where Utah was under siege a little bit, but they punched them right back, and they have a tremendous opportunity tonight to take a series lead here and really put themselves into position to advance out of the first round, which would be a remarkable accomplishment in year 2 for this team.
In order to do that, to win, what do you think the most important thing is for the Mammoth tonight?
It's a great question. There's 2 things. It goes without saying they need, you got to have goaltending every single night in the playoffs. That goes without saying. There's an interesting kind of setup in this series where the best line for either team, it's not even disputable. It's that Dylan Gunther, Logan Cooley, Kyler Yamamoto line. They have destroyed Vegas. I think they're carrying like 85% of the expected goal share through the first two games. I think they're up 3 goals at even strength head-to-head against Vegas. That line, Cooley especially, has just been so dynamic. And frankly, when they're on the ice, they make Vegas look very old and very slow. And now coming to home ice, they've got the matchup advantage. They can deploy that group against whoever they want on the Vegas lineup. I would say it's a two-sided coin like most things, though. And the other side of this coin, and why I am very eager to see, if not the Game 3 lineup, the Game 4 lineup, what it looks like for the Mammoth. The Mammoth's depth, their bottom 6 and really their fourth line, that Liam O'Brien line, has for all the goodness that the top line has created for Utah, the fourth line in Utah has been getting absolutely crushed. And I think there's a symptom or certainly an explainer for why that's the case. And you take Hayton and McBain out of the lineup, you're starting to get pretty thin further down the lineup. And, yeah, you can survive that in the regular season. But when you're playing a team as good and structured and as deep as Vegas, you really can't have a fourth line, even if they're playing only 9 or 10 minutes a night. You can't have them getting outshot 2-1 every time they're on the ice. So Vegas certainly has some opportunity against the Utah bottom 6, but best on best, the Marner-Stone combination and Eichel still remains terrifying for Utah, but best on best, I think Utah's big guns have showed up in a really loud way here, and I am hoping for Utah's sake that they get a little bit of injury luck here, whether it's one or both of them back by either Game 3 or Game 4 between Hayton and McBain. I think that would be a big tailwind for this group right now.
So when you look at Cooley in particular, the youngster, he looks like he's 12 years old out there, but he's got goals in the first 2 games and has really shown that he is a future superstar in this league. I'm sure there are some guys, when they get their first taste of the playoffs, especially a team that's as physical as Vegas, they have a hard time adjusting to that level of physicality, but he has handled himself beautifully. Is it sometimes a crapshoot on how these youngsters play in a playoff series, or did you kind of expect this kind of performance from him?
Oh, it's definitely a bit of a crapshoot, but there's things that can help, right? And one of the big things that can help is don't put a guy on an island, right? And you see that. I'll go to the Sharks as an example because the short list of best players we watched all season, Macklin Celebrini, I mean, he was dominant at the Olympics, dominant for the Sharks, but it's a pretty talent-thin team around him, right? And you start punching up against a class of a team like Vegas, you need a little bit of health. I don't care how good you are. And Logan Cooley is fast, strong, dynamic. He is taking the game to Vegas's best defensive players, which is a statement in and of himself. But look at his line. I mean, he's got a 40-goal scorer on his wing, and there is incredible symbiosis between those two, where Cooley is this Swiss Army knife cutting through the middle of the ice, playmaking for his wingers, the exact way you want from a young center. It doesn't matter the defensive personnel on the other side of the ice that Vegas is deploying. He seems to have an incredible ability to find his own way to the net mouth and in between the circles, as well as find shooters in those dangerous areas. The value prop here and why that line is so deadly, though, is Cooley, for my money, he's been the best player in the series. Mark Stone's been great for Vegas, but for my money, Cooley's been number one with a bullet. But one of the things that's helping is, Vegas can't really cheat here against that line, right? You can't squeeze on Cooley and leave a player like Gunther open for a blink of a second because he's going to find the back of the net. I mean, his shot is really that good. So, and by the way, Utah's not alone in this, right? Like, you're seeing this in pockets of teams like Montreal and Buffalo, some upstart teams where they've got really young, talented, dynamic, and players who can play with pace, but they're not on an island, right? Cole Caulfield, everyone's talking about maybe the hottest player the second half of the season for Montreal. He's playing with an unbelievable center in Nick Suzuki. Paige Thompson is kind of the ignition for that Buffalo top 6. There is a benefit where the sum of the parts can be greater than the whole, and I think that Cooley, Gunther, Yamamoto line in this head-to-head with Vegas right now, they are much better than the individual attributes each brings to the ice.
The goalie matchup in this has been interesting to watch. Obviously, Connor Hart's having a great series thus far. Your assessment of Vejmelka so far and what you think he's doing well, maybe some areas that he could tighten up.
I think Van Melk has been good, not great. I think he was borderline great during the regular season. I think Vegas has done a really good job. One thing that Vegas does really well, and we've watched this for a decade now, when they apply offensive zone pressure, they can rack up multi-shot shifts in a hurry. And one of the reasons why that's notable is it puts incredible pressure on your blue line when you're defending for 30, 45 seconds, 60 seconds in your own defensive third. It also puts incredible pressure on the goaltender to be able to move post to post, get in front of these shots. I think he's done a good job. I do think, though, the bigger story around the goaltending matchup is it's frankly and simply one that Utah has to win. They came, and this is no disrespect to Carter Hart. I think he's been great in the first two games. Utah has the better goalie in this matchup, and frankly, the reason why Vegas struggled so mightily this regular season, which sounds comical because they ended up winning the division in what I think John Tortorella references as a pillow fight for the division title in the Pacific. Their goaltending was atrocious. It probably cost them 10 points, if not more, in the standings over the course of the season. And getting Carter Hart back, I think they were hoping that they could lean into some real goaltending stability. And frankly, the Golden Knights are one of those teams that are so deep and so talented. They really just need average goaltending, and they are a force when it comes playoff time. It's a little scary that they are getting that quote-unquote average goaltending. But, again, you got to give credit to both Utah in that, but more importantly, Utah's big guns having showed up and being able to find some goals against a very structured and very disciplined team that in just the last couple of years has put, teams like Edmonton and in Colorado in a guillotine, in a complete chokehold. Like, if the Golden Knights are capable of doing that against teams of that caliber, certainly they can do it against the Mammoth, but it has not happened through the first two games.
So give us a little background on Vegas, because it appears like if you look at an owner or a GM wrong, they'll fire you in that organization. But yet, as much heat as they took for that firing near the end of the season, it appeared like it worked. Is Tortorella really working some magic there, or was it the level of competition? What do you see as their resurgence?
So I'll say two things. Number one, I got to be honest, I love the way Vegas runs their organization. They are absolutely ruthless. I get that can lead to potentially unintended consequences and change sentiment on the fly. But I think far more often than not, and it's worth saying, this would be a shocking decision made by most organizations. For Vegas, this was like playing a par 3 hole on a Sunday morning golf club. I mean, this is like every year they pull something out like this, and far more often than not, these bets have panned out. This bet has also panned out, by the way. You fired one of the most successful coaches of the last decade in Cassidy, bring on Tortorella, and they literally have one loss, I believe one regulation loss, under Tortorella's tenure since the change. And that one loss, by the way, was against Utah in Game 2. So you got to give complete credit to the organization for not willing to sit on their hands. They know they've got a contender. They know their division is weak, even with Utah in the mix. Like, this is a division they can get out of and certainly get to a conference final. So I actually think the decision was completely defensible. And again, there have been decisions in the past where I'm like, I think they made the right call. I questioned it because, John Tortorella is a very senior coach, and he's going to bring some elements of stability behind any bench. He can effectively coach any team in the league. He's plug and play. But there's a reason he's been fired 6, 7, 8 times. His teams are typically underperformers. They spend a lot of time in the defensive zone. Some of that can be, historically, that could have been, he wasn't given the personnel, whether it's in New York or Philly for that matter. But they have turned this around. I would say one thing that is notable. Utah is unequivocally, even amidst this Vegas stretch, they're unequivocally the best opponent Vegas has played. I mean, Vegas had an absolute tomato can schedule last 10 games of the regular season, and credit to them, they racked up the wins, and it put them in the position where they can win the division title and have home ice at least till the Western Conference Final. They get credit for that, but they were playing an absolute tomato can stretch late March and into April, and Utah genuinely is a step up in competition, and quite frankly, through 6 periods, I think these teams are darn near equal, and I think that's a testament both to how Utah's played, but also kind of a reality check of, okay, Vegas we know is still a good team. They're probably better than they showed over the course of the regular season. We know the goaltending can't be this bad, but I also am not, foolish enough to believe that a coach can have this remarkable an impact over 2 weeks.
What other series have your attention right now? What ones are you gravitating to? That's kind of my thing. There's some that pull you in, some that aren't as interesting. But what other series got your eye?
It's been great hockey for the most part, right? I would say the one shocker for those who are like, I've been just poking around the league a little bit. Not that I thought the Pittsburgh Penguins were a great team, but I kind of had wrote off the Flyers as this is an almost guaranteed one-and-done team in the first round. And they're up 3-0 on a very, very, very veteran-led Penguins team. I mean, their power play unit, the Penguins power play unit, has 4 first-ballot Hall of Famers, like with no exception whatsoever between Chris Letang and Erik Karlsson, Kenny Malkin, Sidney Crosby, and yet they're down 3-0 to a bona fide ragtag rebuilding Flyers team that certainly has collected a little bit more talent around the roster the last couple of years. But that's been a surprise. I did not think the Flyers would look this good this early. Most compelling series, though, this is an easy one for me to answer. Over in the Central, I cannot stand this playoff format. I recognize that it does create a few incredible matchups in the first round. I never think it's worth the trade-off, but given that we are here, the Dallas Stars, Minnesota Wild, you are looking at probably 2 of the 6 best teams in the NHL playing each other in round 1. It has been as close as a series as it can get between the two sides. Really, the difference maker has been the Dallas power play with 6 power play goals in 3 games. They played Game 4 on Saturday night. My wallet's hurting a little bit, but I was devising a plan right before I jumped on where we're going to hit this Utah game 3, and then we're going to boogie over to Minnesota for Game 4, Stars Wild. So I might do a little back-to-back, take both in. I think for my money, these are the 2 best series right now. It's Stars Wild and Mammoth Golden Knights. So really excited to see how these evolve, and I think both are going to go the distance.
It seems like Gary Bettman has really dug his heels in on this playoff format. Is there appetite around the league with maybe other owners or other teams to maybe alter it to a little bit more of a traditional format?
There has to be. I mean, I've been writing about this as a problem since year 1, and it's a complete mathematical argument. It is. Look, I am not going to sit here and say everything needs to be, purist, ordered perfectly, standings, points. No leagues run like that. We watch the NFL, we watch the NBA. They all have different seeding strategies. Fine. You cannot have 2 of the 5 or 6 best teams playing each other in the first round. Oh, and by the way, it's happening twice because the Canadiens and Tampa Bay Lightning both finished with 108 points, and they're playing each other in the first round over in the Atlantic. I think Pierre LeBrun, a colleague of mine at TSN, put out a poll, thousands and thousands and thousands of votes, fan poll, and I think it was like 90%, which, you can't get this country to agree at 90% to anything, want a format change of some kind. And the thing to me, 2 points I will close off on this because I really think the NHL is getting this wrong. Number one, they kind of talk out of both sides of their mouth, Gary Bettman specifically on this point, where he argues that, well, this forced, divisional, you got to get out of the division, creates compelling first-round matchups. Number one, that is true, but I would posit that also seeding 1 through 8 creates very compelling first-round matchups. And number two, if you're putting your stake in the ground that it's all about the first round, what are you really saying out of the other side of your mouth? You're saying the product gets diluted and it's less quality as the playoffs go on, which, by the way, has also been my qualitative observation of the Stanley Cup playoffs over the last few years. So I just you can make arguments about imbalanced schedules and the travel component. I've got time for those discussions, but we've got to really think the seeding strategy. This seeding idea that you've got to win the division, we'll seed 4 teams across in each division. It only works when you've got a talent balance across not just the conferences now. You've got to have talent balance across all 4 divisions. And as we watched this year, the Pacific was garbage compared to the Central. The Metro was garbage compared to the Atlantic. And you get these crazy first-round matchups. I will say this, and this is the other point I was going to make. Gary Bettman has definitely dug his heels in on this, almost a little bit shockingly to me at this point, because there has been chatter. Bill Guerin of the Minnesota Wild has come out loudly and has kind of petitioned to go back to a 1-8 seating setup. Gary Bettman, what was the other topic that he was most, I'm going to die on this hill? It was that the Coyotes are going to stay in Phoenix. And here we are, by the way, 2 decades later. So, he's a brilliant guy. I think he does have the right pulse on things more often than not, but I would submit, and loudly so, they do have this format wrong. They need to rethink how they seed the playoffs.
Hey, great stuff, man. We appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with us. Enjoy the game here in Salt Lake. We're anticipating that game. It's going to be crazy tonight in Delta Center. First ever playoff game in that building. So should be a lot of fun. But thanks again for carving out some time for us.
No kidding. You can tell from the ticket prices it's the first ever hockey playoff game.
Lord
almighty. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, those things are – you got it. Those tickets are like cigarettes in prison, and we're going to be giving away a pair a little bit later on in the show. So keep listening for your chance to win. Barret Peery joins us next right here on The Zone.
You're locked on to Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaComb. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, joining us now, new assistant coach at Utah State, Barret Peery, kind enough to carve out some time for us. Coach, you'll like this. You know what? As Coach LaComb puts his headset on, Coach is working by, what's that, number 3 or number 4 Diet Coke today?
Oh, we are a part of the same tribe, BP and I.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said
that's about 6, if you count what I had coming in.
Coach, how are you?
I can compete with that every day. Tim and I both, we see eye to eye on that. I'm doing good. Thank you.
So I'm a Coke Zero guy, but you guys go old school on the Diet Coke, right?
For me, Coke Zero is too sweet. You just too sweet. Barret, I don't know why do you stick with the old bird?
I stick with Diet Coke. I'm the same way. I don't like Coke Zero. Freddie Smith has tried to get me to Coke Zero forever and ever. I can't do it. I just stick with the old standby.
I love it. Hey, congratulations from a selfish standpoint, doing the radio for Utah State and seeing you come up there for UNLV. And I remember just like, man, I'd love to get this guy in Logan. And to see your name come across with that Utah State logo, I got fired up to see it. Just how fired up for you to get up there in Logan?
Well, 2 things. One is congrats to you guys getting together. This dynamic duo is impressive. I've been enjoying the commercials of the beginning of your tour of duty here together. So awesome stuff. For me, I agree. It was always awesome to come up here and see you and then have to weather the storm of the spectrum each time. So if you can't beat them, join them. But more importantly, for me and my family and our travels and where we've been and what we've done, we've had great experiences in a lot of parts of the country and wonderful places. But at a time in our life where it was going to take a real special opportunity that really fit us, and it's not cliche, it's not, coach speak, it had to be something that really fit our family. And so when this came up, not only was it Utah State, which is a place that I believed in and knew you can be successful at because many people have done it. And as I've gotten here, it's been amazing to see the support and how into it people really are. But also Coach Jake and believing in him, a grown-up head coach that really has, formed an identity for himself as a head coach over 20 years at UNI and several NCAA tournaments and Sweet 16s. And so I was going to come and work with a guy that I really believed in, and that was him.
BP, how many times have you moved?
Well, let's not have my wife on the line because right now it's touch and go.
I know she's hot, but this is just us talking. Nobody else can hear.
I think it's about 9 or 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the crazy part, I actually went out to recruit a kid in Ottumwa, Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
You know where Ottumwa is?
No clue where Ottumwa, Iowa.
Well, just go to Iowa and drive until you find people that don't have teeth in their head.
Okay. All right.
And you're there.
Wonderful people.
No, they're awesome people, but, man, they're rough. That's a rough town, man. That's a rough town.
we went to Ottumwa, Iowa, to Indian Hills Community College after our time at University of Utah with Coach Boylan, and unfortunately that ended poorly. But it was a fun run and a great time, and we loved being at the U. And got a call shortly after that happened, and this president called and said, "Hey, we want you to come and do what you had done at CSI years before out here." And I went out there, and we had a wonderful 3 years. And it was awesome, and we really enjoyed it because it was such an awesome basketball place. But it was a little bit off the beaten path for sure.
Yeah, and I joke, but like everybody that I looked at, I wouldn't want to like cut them off or like it was. I'm serious. They handle their own there.
When you sink your teeth into something, no pun intended.
I knew why Indian Hills was so good when I walked in there. I'm like, because they send the docile referees in here that'll just gonna play along.
No, that was an awesome spot, man. It was an awesome spot.
But I guess my point is, go ahead.
No, we loved it. We had opportunities to make national title games, and I think we were about 93-10 while we were out there.
Wow!
And it was the people were so supportive and an awesome place.
Again, from a selfish standpoint, I grew up in Burley, Idaho, and so we never went to Idaho State games. We never went to Boise State games when they're in the Big Sky. We always went to CSI games. That was my college basketball experience because, frankly, the talent there was better than some of those Big Sky teams. Jumpin' Joey Johnson and some of those teams from back in the day. Yeah. And just how much did that experience really turn you into the coach that you are now?
That was an awesome head coaching experience. It was my first time as a head coach, and you've already kind of painted the picture. I mean, a high-level place as far as players and support and them believing in the people. So, I was coaching a bunch of, 10 D1 guys every year that were going to move on to great places, and we were mentoring them and helping them get to where they needed to be, both in the classroom and on the court and a little bit in the community as well. But what a great place. We love that place, and it was so good to us.
How much did that experience in the junior college ranks when you could lose a kid really quickly to the next level, and sometimes it would be good for that kid, kind of help prepare you for the current landscape of D1 college basketball where everything's turned upside down?
You know what? People refer to that a lot with me, that maybe it doesn't bother me as much, the movement and the 1 year stays for a lot of these kids. Maybe it did prepare me a little bit. I'm not as wrecked by it, and years ago, actually, when I was at Indian Hills, and Fred Hoiberg had left the NBA and come over to Iowa State, he kind of had that mentality. It was like, whether I can coach him for 4 or coach him for 1, let's coach them and use them to the best of their abilities, and let's get all we can out of them. If they want to be here longer, that's great. But if they want to move on, that's great too. Let's love them and help them. So, we all have to be very grown up about the fact that everything's a 1 year deal nowadays. But we've been fortunate up here, as you know, Scotty, that, golly, we've got a couple guys that decided to stay for another year here with Mason and Carson, and it's so rare. And, the first thing I said to those guys when I came up here a couple weeks ago is, you know what, I'm just so proud of you guys because it's so rare that you guys make decisions like this, and you have a chance to be on the wall forever.
BP, we had Tyler. We actually mentioned Tyler Newbold earlier in the show. Got to represent that pace and
go Lions.
Yeah, absolutely. And he reached out to me via text and said how he was excited he was about you being up there, a Payson guy. I had another guy hit me and said Payson forever. But your experience there was unique because you formed a really important friendship with your head coach, and I just talk about what you and John Wardenberg's relationship. John, if you don't know, John's at with the women on the BYU women's side, but certainly a great friend of mine, yours, but the influence he's had on your life.
Yeah, he came rolling into Payson High School my senior year and immediately impacted us and impacted who we are and how we acted and how we played. And, we formed a bond that has lasted another 30 years or so. he named his fourth son Barret, so we've obviously been pretty close. Recently, his son Adam, last week, or was it early this week? Last week, got the Utah Tech women's job. He was my manager at CSI, a bunch of years back. Coach and I have stayed very close. 3 years being my assistant out at Indian Hills in Iowa, and then of course, you remember the days when you were at BYU and he was at BYU and I was at Utah, and we all had to pretend like we were enemies, but we were all great friends as we competed against each other and bumped into each other in gyms every night and all those kind of things. So, yeah, we're close. We're family, and it's been an incredible relationship, and somebody that's been not only a great friend but a great mentor, and somebody that's, your family not only in basketball but in life.
You've got a couple junior college signees, and I've heard coaches say that because of the transfer portal and the ability to snag kids out of there, sometimes the junior college kids are getting overlooked. Do you see some talent at that level that may be available to you now that wouldn't have been maybe 5 years ago?
Yeah, and I think that it's kind of a situation where if you haven't been in that world and been in that market, especially my history off and on in my career, and don't have those connections and those relationships with those coaches and those programs, it's more of a challenge. But if you have a relationship and there's a comfort factor with those coaches with you, I think you have a chance to get in the door on some guys. And yeah, we've had 2 or 3, real good things happen from junior colleges just in the last week or 10 days, with the Snow kids and then with CSI, which are both great connections for me and our program, that I think we're getting kids that are ready-made to come and impact. But more importantly, honestly, I think one of the biggest speeches we've given these kids is an opportunity to stay home, wear the Utah State brand on your chest, and, play in front of friends and family and be a part of something, that's, for you, a hometown guy or a local Utah kid that, it's going to mean something to them being here.
BP, give us an inside look. You've obviously been through the years, Coach Jacobson, but what's it been like here the first week, and what can you share about him that Aggie fans would be interested in hearing?
Well, I couldn't be more excited about Coach and who he is as not only as a man but as a ball coach. We have a couple of mutual friends that really kind of had this thing, going and wired. Coach McDermott at Creighton and then TJ at Iowa State. We all have kind of run in the same circle a little bit and been really close. And so when Coach got the job, actually Coach Mack called me first and said, "Hey, this is going down, and I've told Ben he better get you over there." I said, "Well, let's talk." And TJ kind of did the same thing. And so Coach and I spent, a lot of time talking, and Utah State is in great hands with Coach Jake. He's such an experienced, mature ball coach that's been through it and been in wars, in tough situations, tough places, and proven himself to be a great coach. Lots of NCAA tournaments. And you know what? And everybody can see this really easily. He's had several chances to leave Northern Iowa, and it was never quite what he wanted to do, never quite the right fit. And so he's been very, very picky. And so, in a selfish sort of way for me as a representative of him, he finally said, "Hey, this is the spot for me." And so I think everybody up here in Logan should feel really, really excited and blessed that we got him.
And just to mention, we played, so we only crossed paths as, our teams, Coach Jacobson and any of my experiences. At BYU, we played in Hawaii. We played Hawaii, and, we were over there enjoying the sun and blah-de-doo. We roll out there on the floor, and when that ball's tipped, from the very beginning, you're getting cracked. And, we talk about, you and I talked when you got the job about the Aggie, kind of that prototypical Aggie that will just do whatever it takes, and you can go down the list. Wesley's, even the Grant, Grant way back in the 70s. It's to me, there is a lineage, and so to me, you said it's a natural fit. I think it's a natural fit, and the people that I know outside of you that know him, say one of the best guys doing it. So, yeah, I think Utah State knocked it out of the park again.
Yeah, you start talking to all of our basketball buddies, Tim and Scotty, and they're all going to say the same thing about Coach, not only as a coach but as a human being. And so you feel like you're in really good hands, putting your career and your livelihood and your family in a guy's hands like that. And that's something that you can really sleep well at night and learn from and get better from. And, he's going to fit here. There's going to be a style of play that people are excited about. And, for me, it's been awesome because he's wanted me to come and do what I think that we have a good ability to do, which is, get the guys that should be wearing our uniform here. And that's going to be a big priority for us.
So before we let you go, Utah State was playing in a tournament in the Cayman Islands in Danny Sprinkle's year. And And this is when the NIL thing really started to pick up. And I was talking to Andy Hill, who was an assistant with him, and I asked Andy, I'm like, all right, so, look, off the record, how much do you think you need per year to really be competitive in the Mountain West Conference? Keep in mind, this was 3 years ago. It will be 3 years ago coming up in October. And he said, you know what, if we could get anywhere from about $700,000 to $900,000 a year, we could be right there. We'll be fine. And that gets you half of a point guard now, for crying out loud. Just how crazy has this world been, and to try to navigate it. And I will say this, like, in knowing Cam Walker and knowing the group that Utah State has up there in that athletic department, they're doing everything they can and being successful to make sure you're as competitive as you possibly can be in that area.
Well, I've been wowed by Cam and President Mortensen just in the small dealings that we've had in my short time, as far as how excited they are to be supportive in 2026. And I mean that by saying, just like you talked about 3 or 4 years ago, talking about $700,000 or $900,000, you're adding zeros on that now. And, I mean, a great team's going to cost a lot of money, but they're so supportive and so all in on the program and seeing the benefits of being great at basketball, and being so supportive of Coach as far as wanting him to be successful right off the bat and doing whatever they can to help him, put a team together that's going to fit him, but also be talented enough to win. But yeah, times have changed. I mean, we all read about it every day, what the market's like and how much it's gone up in recent years, even compared to last year. And it's wild. And, Tim's been through it. Scotty, you follow it all the time. Now you're sitting there and saying, okay, would this guy even really be worth it if we had this much money? You're looking at certain guys and saying, I couldn't even justify that in my brain. And then there's other guys, of course, that, you really think that their value is fantastic and you need to have them in your uniform. We've been lucky enough to get, 4 or 5 of those guys that were already wearing the uniform to stay and be a part of it, as well as add those pieces. But our administration is really all in right now, and it's an exciting time.
Do you hold a spot open in case this 5 for 5 comes through?
We kind of are. We're at that kind of 12 or 13 spot right now. 15 is the magic number. I think we're definitely, we have a kid that had played for Coach at UNI that is a possible transfer opportunity, but he's going through a waiver process. And then, there's a couple kids here that would have a 5th year. So yeah, we'll probably sit on 1 or 2 as this plays out a little bit, because it feels like it's gaining momentum. And even, Coach Pitino made a comment yesterday about how I don't know what everybody's going to do if it actually happens, because they will have already spent their money and filled their spots. And so it'll kind of be a round 2 of portal madness maybe. Yeah.
Well, Coach, we appreciate it. Can't wait to hang out with you a little bit on the road, get to know you a little bit better. But I'm fired up. This is going to be a lot of fun getting you in Logan.
Can't wait. We love it. Love you guys. You guys are great friends. It's always been so good to me and awesome, and love hearing you guys and that you're together. What a fantastic deal.
When Spencer Nelson takes you for a meal, make sure he buys, because he's rolling in the cash these days.
I hear that. I got to get him on that.
Hey, that would be like the old days. Me, you, and Spence going to lunch. Remember those days?
That would be awesome. Oh, yeah.
Where we just meet in the same event, and then we'd say, hey, where are you going? Oh, let's go over there. We all go eat together. It was awesome.
Hey, appreciate it, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
There he is. Barret Peery, new assistant coach at Utah State. One of the best dudes out there, too.
Oh, he's going to be great for the Aggies, and the Aggies are going to be great for him. But I think the biggest thing coming out of that is Ben Jacobson really is great.
Yeah.
You're seeing it more and more, but he'll identify the right guys, and this I can promise you'll have him ready to play.
All right, way late on this one. Alex is losing his mind back there. We apologize. We will have a quick segment coming up next, 97.5, the EKSL Sports Zone.
Spring is the perfect time to refresh your wardrobe, and Old Navy is making it easy with Wow Denim. Old Navy's Wow Denim is all about the styles and washes you'll love at prices that make it easy to say yes. Try a new fit, whether it's a mid-rise boot, high-rise wide leg, or a relaxed baggy vibe. And with Wow prices starting at just $22, grabbing more than one pair is a no-brainer. Shop Wow Denim now at OldNavy.com or head to your nearest Old Navy store today.
The Jazz, the Mammoth, and the Utes, Cougars, and Aggies. When it comes to sports in Utah, we've got you covered. This is Scotty G and the coach, Tim LeCaux, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You know what this song needs? Oh, well, we got to turn on your mic. Our guy Brant left. All right, we are live here at Tim Dahle Nissan Southtown. That's Tim Dahle Nissan Southtown. As we got some incredible savings. Does that one work? Nope, that one doesn't work either. There we go.
Well, don't sweat it one bit. I just had a heck of a line right there. We were in sync.
Yes, sir. We need some more cowbell. All right, so many great savings, so many great opportunities here at Tim Dahle Nissan Southtown. Make sure to stop by. We will be here until 2 o'clock. The deals, the savings all continue on. And, again, you can get some of these Rogues, Muranos, 0% financing, great lease options. There's really no reason you shouldn't be stopping by. They've got the used inventory with a bunch of EVs. If you're looking for one of those, they'll have them here in stock as well. It's all right here at Tim Dahle Nissan Southtown, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The best sports radio in Utah is right here, right here. This is Scotty G and the coach, Tim LeCaux, on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, right here at Tim Dahle Nissan Southtown. That's where you need to be right now. Then later on tonight, you need to make your way down to Delta Center. Whether you have a ticket or not, that place is going to be absolutely hopping. If you get to be inside the building, you're going to be watching history tonight as the Utah Mammoth play the first ever home playoff game in franchise history in just their second year of existence. A guy I've had the pleasure of hanging out with for a few minutes after each game, game one and game two, and we'll do it again tonight, is the legend himself, Jay Stevens, kind enough to hang out with us. Jay, how are you?
I am doing great. What a day, huh? 2 years to the day that we got to meet the team coming off the plane.
Wow.
Well, that is 2 years from on the day. Huh?
I told you there was a vibe in the air.
Wow. That is absolutely incredible. All right, so can a team sometimes get too hyped up for a game? Do you worry about maybe a little bit of that right out of the gate for this squad?
Yeah, you've got to think that's going to factor into it a little bit. I mean, they're definitely, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's not lost on them, especially the guys that came from Arizona. And just seeing how important this is to the fans, the team gets it. And I was worried about that. I talked about keys of the game in game one is starting on time. And I think that has to be the same thing for tonight. They have to start on time. They have to let all the emotions and all that stuff and all the extra jitters just get out of the system during warmups and be ready to go. But yeah, it definitely could be a factor.
Game two did not start great. We had conversations, and one thing stuck with me coming out of our conversations was, you can't give them space. And those first few minutes, the Vegas pretty much ran that game, and then something flipped. But what did you think about the ability to kind of weather that initial storm?
Yeah, it's important for Utah to be prepared for the same thing. Vegas is a veteran team, and they know the best thing for them is a quick start and a quick goal. But I was pretty impressed with the way Utah was able to figure out the line combinations a little bit better. Bear had first change then, so he didn't have the opportunity to match lines the way he wanted to. And you saw in the first period the same thing you saw in a lot of the first game. The first period of the second game was a lot of Vegas trying to match their line 4 against Utah's line 1, which usually is not a good thing. But for some reason, it was working for Vegas. That's how they got 2 of their goals in game 1. But, Utah kind of rose to the occasion. They figured it out. They started taking time and space. Maybe that could have been some rookie mistakes and leaving some space, because there cannot be time or space for any players in the playoffs. If they touch the puck, you got to have your stick on their stick, and you got to have your elbow in their chin. There's just it's a violent game when you get to the playoffs, and everybody's got to pay the price.
I love that, and it just seems like the physicality of Vegas is so intense but also I do think it allows for you to really burn them with your speed, because they're so intent on laying a big hit on you. If you're able to get them caught out of position, there's going to be opportunities, and that kind of felt like how Utah got that game-winning goal the other night.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you watch a guy like Clayton Keller, he's slippery. Like he is hard to hit. You hardly ever see him on the receiving end of a big hit. So you did see some guys chasing him around, trying to hit him a lot, and he slid out of it. A few guys got laid out, and that's the way it goes, I guess, sometimes. But Utah really had kind of figured it out in the second period, or in the second game. And like you said, that game-winning goal they got was a good defensive zone breakout, a real quick touch from Kyler Yamamoto, who for some reason keeps not getting mentioned by everybody when they talk about the goals, because he had a big part in both of those goals. But yeah, quick passing out of the D zone, quick pass from Yamamoto. There was no time and space, and they created their own good luck, right? Crashing the net with the way Gunther crashed the net like that, Cooley right on his tail. And if you looked at the tape, right behind Cooley was Yamamoto, ready to tap it in case Cooley missed it. So having that wave after wave attack like they had on that game-winning goal, that's what you should expect to see tonight. I think Utah's starting to figure out the playoff game a little bit better, and really starting to figure out where to be, when to be, and how to get out of some hits.
So I talked to you about this. I talked to Cole about this a little bit. My son, my 14-year-old Brody, he's all in on hockey, and he wants a jersey, and he's like, but I don't want it to be like, no disrespect to Cooley, he just doesn't want to be a front runner. He doesn't want to have the jersey that everybody has. He wants to have a good player, but a guy that maybe flies under the radar. We are now team Yamamoto, because I love the way that guy plays. You pointed out some of the things that he's done. He's just done everything right, and he doesn't get a ton of the pub. He doesn't really fill up the stat sheet a ton, but usually when there's a big play going on the ice, he's a part of it.
Yeah, and it's great for him. And this is a guy that has experience with the Edmonton Oilers. Like, he was a first-round pick from them. He was on the same line with McDavid. He knows where to be and when to be there. I don't know the reasons that he didn't last in Edmonton. I don't know the reason he was in the minor leagues last year. But what I'm seeing is a guy that he knew that he had to prove himself, and he did a really good job all season. There were times he was out of the lineup, but for the most part, he was in the lineup. He's had just an amazing year, and he's been so important during the playoffs. And you'll notice, and Scotty, you and I talked about this too, there are players that you barely even know that are on the team during the regular season, and for some reason, once playoffs start, they're your MVP, or they get the game-winning goal. The same thing happened with Vegas in Game 1. Nick Dowd's a fourth-line guy, and for him to get a goal like that for Vegas, it just proves playoffs, the pressure just creates diamonds. And Yamamoto, you got to give it up to Carcone too, because he's been the same way all season, and he's definitely just killing guys in the playoffs. He's really been helping Utah in the playoffs. And you could say the same thing about Tanev, who barely had a regular season, but every time, I think he only had like 8 minutes in Game 2, but he had like 4 hits, created turnovers. He's out there trying to draw penalties. So these guys that you didn't see a lot during the regular season could be your MVP for the playoffs.
When we talked last, it was before Game 2, and you mentioned Veggie was playing decent to playing well, but you'd like to see him handle rebounds, better. I saw him sprawl out and get one the other night, but just kind of evaluate where Veggie is in the series and how important is that goaltender matchup.
There's a famous saying that goaltender's 70% of your game. Unless you don't have it, then it's 100%, right? Goaltending sense. Can definitely cost you the game, and goaltending, especially in playoffs, goalies need to steal a series. Goalies need to steal a game. And it really comes down to better goaltending. And Veggie was really good. I think I gave him a B- or a B during game 1. I'd have to give him an A- in game 2. He's getting better each game. He's figuring things out. Not that goaltending is that much different. The only thing that really changes for goaltenders is how much physicality is going on in front of the net and how much more willing guys are to stand right in front of your face and take the beating and take the shots, because obviously they're going to get hit by the defenseman. They might get hit by their own guys shooting. They never know, but guys are willing to do it in playoffs. I thought Veggie was better consistently. I thought he was tracking pucks better, picking them up out of the screen and then finding rebounds again, because most of those rebounds are hard to find because there's so many people in front. I always talk about the chaos in front of the net, and that's the only way to describe it. It's just pandemonium. The minute the puck hits the goalie's pads and drops somewhere, everybody's looking for it, and if the goalie doesn't find it first, it's not good for the defending team. But I think Veggie's getting better. I haven't had any real issues with his game. The rebound control was just me nitpicking, and I think he's proving himself as a true NHL starter. And hopefully tonight is the same thing. I think Veggie can steal a couple games and maybe even win this series for Utah. And I think he just keeps getting better.
Well, then chaos and pandemonium defined was that last 15 seconds of game 2 because. I'm in the fetal position, man. I'm like laying on the ground while that puck's bouncing around and the game's on the line. But man, it definitely is. It comes down to goaltending for sure. And I did see, listening to you, I saw what he was fighting in front of him. I focused more on that, and that's quite a battle to watch, the game within the game, and then the way that he responded, to rebounds and those sorts of things. So that was fun to listen to you and kind of get some tidbits and watch it.
I'm glad I could help out somehow. But yeah, that really is, it's one of the biggest things. And we talk about it. The 82 game regular season is just season 1. And then you get into the playoffs and it's played differently. It's officiated differently. And that's where it's just watch the front of the net and watch those guys that stand there and try to screen the goaltender. They're going to get cross-checked. If you're standing in front of Veggie, you're gonna find yourself with a Dursey cross-check to the back, or Ian Cole is so big and strong, and he's just going to dig that elbow right into your kidneys and push you out of the way so Veggie can see the puck. And for as violent and as like you said, the pandemonium is during the regular season, the violence in front of the net is something maybe you shouldn't let the children watch, because it was
violent. Fun to watch. I enjoyed it.
That's the thing. In the last 15 seconds or the last minute, the minute the other team pulls a goaltender, it is crazy, and everybody's at the end of their seat, if they're even in their seat, whether you're home on the couch or not. People stand up and you hold your breath a lot of the times. You just get so excited about whether you need the goal or whether you need a big save. Everything is just so anxious, and that's why we're such big sports fans, right?
Oh, there's no doubt. What are your thoughts on McBain or Hayton? I know you've been hoping and praying McBain gets back in the lineup. Do you think we're close?
Yeah, practice yesterday. I saw Barret Hayton out there doing normal skate. He was on a line. He looked good. McBain wasn't on the ice that I saw yesterday. I didn't go to the skate this morning because I was actually on the radio at the time of the skate. So it's McBain is a very, very, very important part of Utah's playoff identity. He hasn't had the ability to prove that yet, but that's the style of guy that Utah wants in the lineup right now. Barret Hayton will definitely add some offensive punch. He's not going to bring a lot of physicality to the game, obviously, but if we can get him back in the lineup, and I know spicy tuna is everybody's favorite, but if you think about, if you pull spicy tuna out and you put Barret Hayton in that same spot, you've just increased your speed and your strength as far as and puck control, and Utah's built on speed. We keep talking about that. They're fast skaters. They're really creative and fast on their plays. Barret Hayton is a huge part of that. That's why he's been a part of the power play for the last 2 years, because he's creative, because he's fast. And the Utah power play hasn't done anything in playoffs, so something needs to change, right? Barret Hayton could be the guy. Jack McBain brings everything that Utah needs right now. He is the X factor. For me, anyway, I think getting a healthy McBain back in the lineup is Utah definitely needs it, and I hope he's in tonight. I haven't heard an official the lineup yet, and Barret keeps doing the game time decision thing, so we don't get the actual lineup beforehand. But I think, both those guys are going to do anything they can to be back in the lineup. And McBain, they're both so important, but McBain is a playoff body and a size that Utah doesn't have.
How big an impact can the crowd make tonight in tonight's game?
Well, we talked about it. Could it be really good for the team, or could it put too much pressure on them? I think the team's going to feed off of it. I talked to Ian Cole yesterday, and he was just talking about how, he knows the loudest game he's ever played in, he said, was game 1, Utah Hockey Club versus Chicago. He said the Delta Center was so loud and so crazy, and he says he expects maybe that times 2 for the first ever playoff game in the Delta Center.
That's been my experience living here. Is everybody, they support their teams big time, but when especially like going down there and winning a game, people are, and it's a Friday night too. Everybody's just free, easy, and loud. It's going to be cool, man, for sure.
Yeah, and all the festivities start at 3:00. There's going to be lots of Smith Entertainment Group does it right. They want you to have the fan experience. I don't know of another ownership group that went out and dropped $2 million on the Mammoth just so more fans could ride on the ice. So imagine what they're going to do for everybody else. I mean, I know there's live bands. I think it's the Used just playing there tonight, a local band. And they've got I'm sure there's face painting and all the fun family things that you can think of outside the Delta Center starting at 3:00. I mean, that's a long day. I'm going to be tired by the time the game starts, but obviously I'm going to be energized and ready to go by game time.
Let's do it. Hey, you're the best, Jay. Thanks for your time. Look forward to chatting with you after this game.
Thanks, guys.
There he is, Jay Stevens, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
I like the way he talks hockey.
Oh, well, I mean, the dude plays it at a high level, and he's the best.
But everything he explains, he was like, it would be like Hans explaining something, put in a forearm to somebody's chin or a stick in their kidney. There's a lot of descriptive violence going on.
I want that guy peeing blood for the next week.
Yeah.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's time to saddle up and talk about the winners and the losers. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, here's the good.
.97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It is your good, your bad, your ugly. Normally we do it at 11:30, but Barret Peery was kind enough to join us at 11:30 this earlier in the show. So if you missed it, all you have to do is go to KSLSports.com or just search Scotty G and the Coach in your podcasting platform of choice. You have all the podcasts, you have all the interviews, full shows, whatever you need, however you want to consume the show. We've got you covered.
And I will say, we will move things around for friends, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And everybody's a friend of the show. So, yeah, I think the nature of this show is going to take is a little like that, like having people on, shooting it, shooting it straight, too.
Shooting it straight.
you got to shoot it straight.
All right, let's start with the good. Big night for a couple of University of Utah players.
With the 9th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Spencer Fano, tackle, Utah. With the 28th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Caleb Lomu, tackle, Utah.
Lomu. So, yeah, you got Spencer Fano and Caleb Lomu go in the first round. First time ever. University of Utah's had 2 players selected in the first round, and they both happen to be offensive linemen, right tackle, left tackle, and just a phenomenal night for Utah football. And it was just one of those where you look at it from a situation of Utah has really established themselves as a place where linemen can go to become pros. Linebackers, defensive linemen, safeties, corners can go to be professionals. And if Sharif Shah comes into my living room and my kid's a linebacker or a safety or a defensive back and he said, I can put your kid in the NFL, I'm like, follow him because he's done it.
He knows the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what you want ultimately for your kid, is to be able to get high-level development and be able to make a little bit of money eventually. And Utah has shown that they have got a good path to the NFL.
Yeah, and the cool part is if you can do both at the same time.
Yes.
You're now these guys are getting great money, and it's on-the-job training. But, yeah, that's where the differentiator is going to be program to program, who can continually take that talent that you're paying for and develop it into a better player and send them on their way.
Joel Klatt, who was part of the NFL Network broadcast last night, had a great line as the first round came to an end, and the second round obviously starts later tonight. He goes, all right, now we get to the players that are going to be taking a pay cut to come to the NFL. And he's not wrong.
That's crazy, but crazy to think, right?
Your first-round guys are probably going to be even. Now the second-round guys are still stars on their college team, high-level dudes, but now the salaries start to drop in the NFL to the point where a kid, he's going to go to the NFL, but he's going to take a pay cut to do it.
And the crazy part is once you get there, you realize it's about double the amount of work, too.
Oh, yeah.
Caleb Lohner is a good friend, and when he went through his experience last year with the Broncos, we would just talk from time to time, and he's like, you don't realize when you're, you just think, professional football, but you don't realize there's 6 a.m., in the off season, being at the facility and basically leaving as the sun goes down, and the amount of hours they put in. So it's a commitment, but they're going to be doing fine. I mean, it may take a pay cut for a little bit, but those two guys especially, their stock's up.
It's just more an indication of where we're at right now in the world of college athletics, where a second-round pick is like, oh, man, I got to budget a little bit better.
Exactly. It's funny.
Yeah. And but, I think it has made these players better because they're going to stay in college longer because of the financial resources that are available there. So then they develop a little bit more. So they're a little ready, they're ready to go at a higher level in the NFL.
There's going to be way less of the guys that are going to go test it, or take a chance to go, because like you said, they're getting the opportunity to make money, and then guys will go out when it's time, when they feel right.
And so back in the day, the old adage was, look, if you could be a 4th-round pick, you go. Now it's like, you know what? If you're a 1st-round pick, you go. If you're second, you have to have a long, hard conversation about it.
No, it's true. I mean, it's never used to be a thing. Everybody was celebratory regardless. Even Mr. Irrelevant was excited.
Yeah.
But now there's some ramifications to your economics.
I want to get your thoughts real quick on the 5-5, because in theory it sounds good. You know what? Kid shows up. He's got 5 years of eligibility to play. But this is going to open up Pandora's box. And I mentioned it with Barret Peery. Speaking of guys that want to come back and make money, there's a lot of guys like, that I'm trying to think, for example, of, Colin Chandler, for example, if he has an extra year of eligibility, I'm not sure if he redshirted or not, but
I don't think he did.
So all of a sudden he can, a guy that probably isn't going to get drafted in the NBA now can go back to college and make a couple $1 million, if not more. And so he's going to be out there saying, well, yeah, I'm ready to go back to BYU. I'm ready to help. But BYU's already set up their roster. They've paid a chunk of money already in NIL. And so if come July, August, this thing goes down and all these players are coming back saying, all right, I'm ready. Where's those checks? And the teams are like, we kind of spent it all. Now, granted, a lot of these colleges are going to find more, but still, it's this thing could get crazy.
And that, what I don't understand is why they do that. Why they create the chaos. Like, do it, but set a time so it's not going to blow up what everybody's been working on. And to me, it's where I have the biggest issue with all of it is there are people making a ton of money to run an organization that literally does nothing.
Yes.
I mean, they have this great building and they have this structure, but when you get into the guts of it, they do nothing.
I can't imagine the NCAA stories you have.
Oh, they lost me on the whole Dave Rose, thing. Of all the people that have rolled through, and it was just so nasty. So, and then I experienced, the way that they try to, they tried to call me, and try to make me a part of the thing. I had nothing to do with it, so I didn't want to talk to anybody, and they bully you almost. It's a strange thing. So I would say I am really glad I have nothing to do with them anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like they have the ability to subpoena you or anything like that.
No,
but boy, they sure act like it.
Yeah. And show up at, places of business that people, I'm telling you, when I go into detail about it all, it was insane.
Yeah.
The level they went to over Harry Potter. When literally like hundreds of millions of dollars from the time John Wooden started signing players.
Oh, yeah. John wasn't clean.
No, John's pyramid success was, hey, it's valid, but, it's all built upon the foundation of NIL.
Yes.
You got to have that NIL dollar, and then the pyramid can succeed.
All right, there's your good. Let's get to the bad.
Now the bad.
The fallout continues on in Michigan. Sherrone Moore obviously losing his job and now may not ever get hired for anything ever again. His administrative assistant, Paige Shivers, now speaking up for the first time and talked about how she was manipulated by the head coach of Michigan.
Did you feel pressured to have the relationship in order to have job security?
Yes, I did. I mean, he and other coaches had control over my career, especially him. I mean, he could fire me in a second.
Shivers says her attempts to end.
She's saying she was manipulated and the power struggle was very real and that she knew that she could get fired at any given moment. So she continued on in a relationship that she claimed she didn't want to be a part of.
Yes. And I will simply just use an old camping term. And that is, if you're going to, if you got to go use the latrine, make sure it's way far away from home. I mean, there's no reason to mess with any of that stuff.
No.
And I think everybody knows within the walls of an office, particularly, like you're playing with, and they know they're playing with fire. The bottom line is the fire went off.
Oh yeah, he got napalmed big time.
Bad.
And I mean, it just blows me away where you could be a high level college coach at the most prestigious college football program, arguably in the country. You have the world in your hands. Even if you get fired at Michigan, you'll have another job like that. Now, you'll never get another job. No athletic director can ever go to a school president like, hey, I know who I'm going to hire, this guy. And they're like, you've Googled his name, right? Like, we can't bring that onto our campus. There's no way. The firestorm would be too much. He'll never be a coach again. His family is in ruins because of his dumb decisions. I just don't know why somebody would flush that all away. I mean, I do know why, but it just...
It's just a general you just get myopic.
You're too big. There's no way I'm gonna get caught.
Right. That and you just become invincible, too big, but also just distracted. Certainly distracted, and life's going on, and your mind is somewhere else. That's the only way I could explain it.
I know coaches, like head coaches, some of these guys are wired so weird that they have this, almost like a God complex, like nothing can touch them. They can have or do whatever they want. and nothing will ever come back on them. But that's not the case anymore. Maybe back in the 80s and 90s, but not anymore.
No, this is as you know, as we started with the Vrabel stuff, right? Like, you and I could be sitting here and have no idea of people taking pictures of us for their family album for and we're great. We're just sitting here doing a show, but
no interlocking fingers here.
No, everywhere you go, you aren't going to trick anybody.
No,
is the point. So stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane, man. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. All right, we'll take a break. Come back. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Next hour, we'll have a chance to chat with the man himself. Craig Bolerjack will join us coming up at 1:05 right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the biggest name. You're locked on to Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaComb, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. By the way, one of the coolest things you'll ever see going on right now, and I know it sounds like, I don't want to sound like we're blowing smoke at Ryan Smith a little bit, but what a cool program they've got. If you had a Golden Knight jersey, because let's be honest, before the Mammoth even, we thought it was a possibility, the Golden Knight really got entrenched here in Utah with a fandom. It was, 5.5 hour drive. You go down there, watch an NHL game, and have a great experience as a team that won a Stanley Cup pretty quickly. So there was a lot to be excited about. So a lot of people bought Golden Knight jerseys. Well, right now, and I think it's still going on, you could bring by a a Golden Knight jersey at Delta Center, and they will swap it out for a Mammoth jersey.
It's absolutely brilliant. I mean, you're just basically saying, bring me a competitor, and I'm going to throw it in a bin and take them off the streets. And we're going to replace those with our mark.
You know what they need to do is just then pile up all those jerseys right by the John and Carl statues, throw a little gasoline on it, and have yourself a big bonfire right before the game.
Man. Let's blow this place up.
Yeah, I know, right? Come on, nothing makes us more fired up in Utah than some, a really big bonfire. I mean, come on, as a kid, you'd love to set things on fire, right? Or is that just me?
I did. I learned the hard way, though. It wasn't necessarily the right thing to do all the time.
No.
You were out in there were plenty of places for you to build fires.
Oh, man. Well,
you weren't threatening many structures.
No, but yeah, we enjoyed blowing things up and setting things on fire. That's like when you grow up in a small town, you don't have lagoon, you don't have, a lot of things to keep you busy. So you make your own entertainment, and a lot of times that can cause bodily harm.
Destruction of something or other. Speaking of destruction,
look at our man strolling through.
He just every day he destroys the look. Look at him. He's got his Ray-Bans, and he's looking good today, man.
Dude, Tyler is the epitome of style.
Yeah.
And class.
Stop it. I know I'm paying you, but not that much.
We like to overserve our clients.
Hey, what we do, we speak the truth.
Yes, no doubt. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The Jazz, the Mammoth, and the Utes, Cougars, and Aggies. When it comes to sports in Utah, we've got you covered. This is Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaComb, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hey, remember, the Zone and Beehive Mills are honoring people that impact youth sports in our communities. Nominate the youth sports volunteer for the Beehive Mills Hero of the Week at KSLSports.com/contest. Scott Gerard, the coach, Tim LaComb. We also have a special guest to help introduce our next guest. So I will allow you to introduce Craig Bolerjack on the show.
Well, this is the voice of the Utah Jazz, longtime broadcaster in our market. And for those of us who work in the business and those that don't, this man will be known as the voice of Utah sports. Yes. Very famous over the years for saying Ty Detmer with the touchdown pass, and that elevated him to national fame. And then we were fortunate enough to get him back to the Utah Jazz to take over for the great Hot Rod Hundley. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Craig Bolerjack to the show.
Look at that. Well done.
Whoa. Aliyama, hey, come on.
How you doing, Bowler?
Can we just get just for old time's sakes, can you guys go da da da?
Oh, well, how about that, right?
Da.
Man. Well, I can't wait for that vibe to come back, Bowler.
Oh,
we're going to be playoff bound next year, and I can't wait.
I can't either. We got to get Big Dog back in town, and Zundel. He's down south somewhere, so we'll have to recruit Big Dog to come back. But yeah, that 97-98 seasons were incredibly special. Alema, I mean, we had a blast at KSL.
Oh.
Thanks for the kind words, my friend. Timmy, congratulations on joining up there with the guy named Scotty G. What a fun show, man. I love it.
Yeah, Alema came by the dealership here at Tim Daly Nissan Southtown. We were chatting it up and knew you were coming on. So, hey, you know what? That's what Tim and I want to build. It's just like a bunch of dudes just sitting around talking sports.
Yeah.
Community, baby.
Yeah.
Build community.
Yeah, community. Alema, you trading in a car? You trading it in, or were you looking for something new?
I was in the neighborhood because this is my neighborhood, right? As you are well aware of, Bowler.
Yes.
And I heard, I was driving around, running some errands. I was over at the Jazz offices, which, Timmy, you're very familiar with because you had a little cubicle. I went over, checked on your cubicle.
Is there flowers there
No,
now?
it's quickly filled.
Yeah.
Because as you know, we are staffed to the hilt. Like
there's a big guy in it, too. Big name in it.
Absolutely. By the famous last name, Hawes, Tyler Hawes, part of the Utah Jazz youth movement and the basketball program. But I was driving around, as I often do, listening to 1280 The Zone and KSL Sports Zone, and I heard that Bowler was coming on. I'm like, I wasn't sure, Bowler, if you were going to be here at Tim Daly Nissan and I could stop by and give you a hug. We all know this because we're in this business, right? During the season, we see each other pretty regularly, and then we have kind of this time where, okay, the season's over, and we might not see each other for a while, and so it's fun to catch up a little bit.
It is, yeah. It's that family within a family. I know it sounds corny, but I tell you, 7 months out of the year, that's kind of the way it is. And then we're on the road for 41, and these guys are back at the Delta Center. I talked to them through, IFB, and, we do the little mic, Alema, mic, just so they
You there? Check.
Check. And that's about it, man. Then we just go on our way, catch a flight, and rinse and repeat and do it again tomorrow.
Yep.
You know what was really cool, though, is the one road game I got to do, that game in Toronto, and just seeing, it's just rinse and repeat for these guys. It doesn't matter the city. They've got their method down, and it's like you've done it once or twice, Bowler, on those road games.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just finished up 21 years, which is amazing to me. Where did it go? Where did the time go? And, hopefully history repeats itself. And, the Jazz get back into position where we can be talking postseason play. Look what the Mammoth are doing in year 2. It's awesome. Tonight, that place is going to rock in Game 3 at the Delta Center. So, sports, I mean, it kind of drives us all together. But, and the passion, it's real. Utah, I don't care if it's BYU, don't care if it's Aggies or Weber State. I mean, you got a passion, man. Follow it. And, that's what we're living right now again. It's great to see hockey make such an impact in a short period of time. And hopefully the Jazz, with what's to come, May 10th is a big day. That's draft lottery day. Yeah. And Utah already won the coin flip with Sacramento. So it's going to be a great summer to see how the rest of this roster is built out. I can't wait.
Bowler, thank you for the kind words, and I'll echo those kind words right back at you. You see Craig Bolerjack, such a big deal, right? But people I've kind of drawn to in life are people that don't act like a big deal. And I caught that right from the beginning, and we formed a friendship, and it has been awesome getting to know you, Bowler. But what is what are you most excited about next year? Just the fact we're off Tank River? or just, I mean, there is a ton to be excited about, I guess. You tell me.
I think that's number one, and I'm glad the league's going to discuss it more in May, from what I understand. I hope that goes through and they discuss, because the fans deserve, the best competition on a given night in the NBA, and no matter where you are, hockey, baseball, football, whatever it may be. NIL is another discussion point. But, For me, I think it's just to go into a game knowing that there's potential for a win every time you walk on the floor. And that's, again, not trying to go back to the time, but there was a time where, the 82 game was a badge of honor, to play 82. We've lost our way in that regard. Stockton, Malone, you have to have that combination, and you hope that the Marketins, the Triple J's, the Keontaes, with what we've seen a taste of together, continues to grow. And the days of Stockton and Malone, you couldn't say one without the other. And Hot Rod, always said it perfectly, each and every time. I mean, what do you think? John is the all-time assist and steals leader. Karl Malone was on the end of all those passes, and his scoring was outrageous. But I just hope that we find a way back to the playoffs, to postseason dominance, and in the West. The West is tough, as we all know. The East, there's a couple of teams throughout, and some are growing, like Detroit, Boston, getting Tatum back, obviously a huge boost. In the West, you still got a young Victor Wembanyama, and you look what, Denver kind of on the cusp of going one way or the other, but still, the Joker is still going to be the top second round pick of all time in my book. So, it's fun to watch each of these teams grow, make big decisions, and look what Oklahoma City's done. They could easily be back for a back-to-back title. The Jazz did it. How difficult is that? Ask Carl and John, and Jerry Sloan spoke about it often. It's just nearly impossible to get back, not only win it, but to get back into the seat to have the opportunity. And for OKC, I'll tell you, they're the best team I saw all year long. Boston, when they're on and healthy, very good. But defense is what wins championships. And what I saw with Dort and SGA and Chet and the rest of the guys in Oklahoma City, there's something – that's a young team still, by the way, but they play way beyond their years, and they have something special. And that's just – can't overplay it. It's a college feel, Tim, as you know. But there's something special there that you can share the limelight with a teammate on a given night after a game and just kind of huddle around and have some fun. And that's what they're doing. And they go all out, and they leave nothing on the floor that I've seen. And it's going to be interesting to see if they can't win back-to-back.
When you've watched Oklahoma City play, Bowler and Alema, when you've watched them as well, the league is, not the league, but other coaches and players are just irate with the whistle that SGA is getting right now. Is that warranted, or is he actually drawing fouls, or is he just getting the friendly whistle? What do you think that is?
I think he's drawing fouls. Now, Bowler, I would say he's drawing fouls. The question is whether or not, do those need to be called consistently. There is an art of drawing that foul. Yeah. And
there's a key
James
word.
Harden has been able to do it, right, Bowler? And I think SGA right now is the guy that is leading the way in that regard. Now, does that get changed? And you have, air quotes, an SGA rule where, okay, that is no longer considered a foul, like the swipe through, those types of things. They'll make those kinds of decisions, and the officials, as we all know, at the beginning of the season, this is, you get together with the officials and they tell you, well, this is the point of emphasis going into this season. Sometimes that sticks, sometimes it's short-lived, but I don't like to see a game that is continually just
choppy.
So choppy because somebody's going to the line, and it's just not good viewing. Which, by the way, is if you're looking at viewership for the NBA, they did get some good news where the playoffs are getting some numbers, regardless of the fact that, they're on these various carriers. And it's fun to see it back on KSL, NBC, and Peacock. For Bowler and I, there's a little, as we reminisce, it feels kind of right. Yeah.
Snapper Jones joined us on occasion. You remember those? That was a blast.
Yep. Bill
Walton.
Could somebody get a rebound, please?
Greg Gumbel, Hannah Storm. We were blessed to actually.
We were right in the center of it, guys. That was so cool.
Yeah. we could drag a camera in from the floor, and we were just kind of everywhere. And it was fun to bring it to the fans because we kind of brought it alive for the first time. And I'll always be thankful for that experience because those 2 years, there was nothing like it. And to even get, the network guys to come over and hang out, I got nothing to do. What do you guys want to do? So we'd sit there, and I don't have to catch a car till later. So they let the stadium clear out, the arena clear out, and come over and burn 10 minutes with us. But we had a good time. And, the city was on fire, and I sense the need for that to come back. I think Mammoth hockey is starting to obviously burn right now with some playoff fever, and it's going to be great tonight at the arena. And love to see the Jazz hit the postseason once again. Will Hardy, he's going to be in his 5th year. It's time. It's time for Will to experience that and what he's done to develop patience, but also just he knows what's going down, and to be a part of it. I hope he gets to, with the rest of the Jazz fan base, to experience what it's like to be in the postseason and to feel good about the work you put in and the reward that comes with it.
It's one thing, too, that I want to mention. I think that it goes overlooked, but one of the things that was a big question is how can a culture, a successful culture, how can that be put in place in the middle of losing so many games?
Oh, that's great. Great
the
question.
one thing I will say, and you guys see it, I'm around it, there's an expectation. There is a culture, and I think the farthest you have to look, if you just look at how the guys treat each other, that is a great indicator of culture. Because I had teams, we had great teams that were very talented, but we were not connected, and you could see it.
Yeah.
But with this team, the way they're hugging, the way they got a technical foul late in the season, Will has done a great job through a very tedious and tough time getting a culture in place that is ready to hit the ground and run next year.
Yeah.
I would agree 100%.
Totally.
Bowlers, we've watched it. I think, you're looking at and where your broadcast position is, which is right across top of the upper bowl, but across, midcourt, and you can see the Jazz bench. Some of my favorite shots on a broadcast are where we get a camera on the shot, then pans over to the bench, and you get the bench reaction. Tim, to your point, the great teams are the ones that can continue to stay connected during these hard times, and the Jazz have been able to do that. There is a sense in this locker room that is extremely connected. They care about each other. And we've talked so much about the development of Keontae George, and a lot of it, in my opinion, as important as what he's been able to do on the court has been what he's been able to do with the younger players, that younger group, including Ace Bailey, who have gotten kind of a blueprint on how to adapt to the NBA. Because, Tim, as you know, you come out of Ace Bailey or even, we're talking about Keontae, their success – when they're coming through the ranks as a young basketball player, they have very little understanding of losing. And your first year, when you come in and you lose, you only won 17 games out of 82 or 21 games out of 82. That's a shock to the system for a lot of these younger players. And so being able to understand, okay, how do I learn from that? How do I continue to develop in that? And, and to lose sometimes and be sitting on the bench and feeling like I can contribute, there's something I can do. I give so much credit to Will Hardy and his staff and their ability to continue to develop these guys when they're going through what is probably the most mentally taxing experience that they have had in their sports career. And Will Hardy has done a phenomenal job with that.
Yeah.
I got to imagine it's really difficult when you got like a guy like Ace Bailey, didn't play in the NCAA tournament, played probably 33, 34 games. So he's hitting that halfway point, and he's like, whoo, it's been a long season. And looks around like, hey, Rook, you got 41 more of these left. And you're like, wait, what? I'm not ready for this. And I got to imagine that's got to be tough on rookies to make that transition from, 32 to 36, 37 games to then all of a sudden playing 82. And that's just in your regular season. That doesn't count preseason and potentially postseason as well. There's an ability to try to, pace yourself, which I can't imagine is a lot easy for these guys.
Well, Will Hardy says it best, and I think every coach in the league, there's basketball shape and then there's NBA playoff shape. And it's Timmy, this as a coach, I mean, you've got to push yourself to that next level to play on a given night 32, 36, 38 if you have to, and a high level. I think Keontae found that oh my moment where this year he wanted to be a leader. Did he know how? I don't think so, but he learned with help. I'm glad the Jazz had avenues for him to work and grow, and I think that's going to be important moving forward in the NBA. You're going to get more 18 and 19-year-olds jumping onto the floor, and even though you think, okay, look, he's talented, but he hasn't matured. He hasn't grown to himself into a man yet, even though he's supposed to live in that type of world. And it's difficult, and it takes now longer and more patience in the front office and the fan base, mind you, that we got to give them time. But you know what the fans want and what everyone wants? We want to win now. Unless you develop the culture you guys have talked about, and the Jazz have done a marvelous job, and that is to understand what they're doing. Are you on board? Can you develop your game? Do you want to be a part of the future? Then tell me how and show me how you're going to do it. And you got to play defense. Will Hardy's been very upfront about that. You got to play D if you're going to make this roster. And is there ways to go? Absolutely. Can they improve? You have to hope so. If not, then most likely changes would have to be made. And you see it every year in the off season. Pieces move. And that's really kind of the business of the NBA. And, Jaren Jackson Jr. has made that, comment several times. He had a good thing going in Memphis, but that thing just kind of imploded on its own. And now he's got a second chance to really, build something special here with Markkanen, and if Kessler does, sign. And you got an athletic front line that is just absolutely going to be a bearer of bad news for a lot of defenses in this league. And if Keontae and Isaiah, whoever else is part of it, Sensabaugh proven, he can score in bunches. You got to have a sixth man on occasion that can jump and hit with that three-point shot. So there's a lot of different combinations now that Will Hardy has. He can mix and match, Tim, I think, as well as most coaches in the league right now, with height, speed, and some combos, some different combinations of shooting. And that's exciting because there's different ways to attack a team every night, and it's going to be tough for teams to try to corral the Jazz.
It's like you watch the team every night. You have really good handle on things.
Kind of dialed in here, Bowler.
You got it dialed in. Hey, but I just want to add a little color. I think, we've made a ton about, like you said, the jump that Keontae made on the court. I think the interesting thing is that, and you alluded to it, Bowler, he had to humble himself, and he had to actually – a lot of these kids, man, they're identified at such a young age, and then it is just entitlement avenue. And it's entitlement avenue from 12 to whenever that is. And, then you get to the NBA and people start yelling at you and telling you got to do this and you got to do that. There is a point where you have to say, I don't know it all. I'm not the most, I don't have everything figured out. And to me, that's what really flipped that culture piece is Keontae, first of all, did that and was willing to do that. And then, as you said, brought everybody else, went on that trip last year. That stuff has paid major dividends. And like I said, it's impossible, near impossible to forge a realistic. You see coaches all the time throw slogans out there that say our locker room can't be beat. Bottom line is you see that with your eyeballs. That's not something a coach tells you. And that is very, very clear and evident. It's one of the more amazing things I think Will's done since he got here.
Alema Harrington, Craig Bolerjack with us. You know what? I remember back in the day, Bowler, that Gordon Monson came to me after one of the big shows, and he says, hey, you better be ready. I think Boler's going to take the play-by-play job. And I'm like, oh, no, there's no way. I just started working with Boler. There's no way. It's hard to believe that was 21 years ago. The time between that can go out and buy a beer right now. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Scotty, what's amazing, that radio station is now the flagship station of the Utah Jazz.
Yeah. After all those things about, yeah, I know, right?
So you end up where you're supposed to end up, Boler.
Come on, what a wild ride.
Oh, geez.
Just sports radio in the state of Utah, this market has been crazy for the size market we are.
Yeah.
And I would give Boler, you, and Gordon Monson a lot of credit for that.
Yeah.
The big show
well,
really
we had fun.
Put it on the map.
You guys
we had
were
fun.
Well, I will, and
we
also,
had
too.
fun. And Scotty, man, we gave Scotty so much trouble. I mean, I'm surprised he's alive and well today. Honestly, the stories that deserves at least a documentary. I don't know if it could ever air, but it deserves one.
Oh, it'd be good.
Okay, so Boler, I'm gonna let you do what you did to me back in the day. Christian, who's back in studios producing, Lloyd's got the day off. So Christian, this is what Boler would do to me. When we'd give away tickets. Normally it's caller number 12, but Boler would come up with some crazy number that would have me stuck on the phone for an hour.
Let's go with caller 1,652.
I have got, how about this? Because we want people to work for these. Right now, we've got 2 lower bowl tickets to the Mammoth Golden Knight Game 4, the Monday game. Not tonight, but Game 4 coming up on Monday. Boler, you get to set the stage. What's our caller?
Let me see. What's Cooley's number? 99?
Sure. 92, but
I mean, we could go with maybe a single-digit guy too, if you want.
No. Christian, sorry, pal.
I think his number's number 1.
Yeah. No, let's go caller 92.
Oh yeah. Christian, this is a little bit of hazing.
You know what? To test your integrity here, Christian.
There's got to be an HR.
Hey, it's Boler, man. You got to take it. I just got to do it.
You started. He's a legend.
Yeah, I can't say no. I grew up watching this guy on TV,
so much fun. This is where we had
now
so
on
much
Entitlement
fun.
Avenue. He's on the back end of Entitlement Avenue.
All right, I got to start answering the phone. I'm going to be busy, so no swearing. I can't dump.
Look, we'll check back in about a half an hour from now.
Yeah.
It should be done.
Well, it will be about to 16.
Go get those tickets right now. Caller number 12 or caller number 92, excuse me. Caller number 92, and you will have tickets to go see the Mammoth and the Golden Knights coming up. Game number 4, not tonight, but game number 4, and these are lower bowl tickets. So call in and claim those tickets right now.
Love you, Boler.
Boler, you're the best, buddy.
Hey, guys, we'll see you soon. Can't wait for lottery night. Can't wait for draft night. Can't wait for tonight. Let's.
I can't wait for call 92. We better go.
Yeah. I just want to know who that person is, and I'll call him up if I can.
Yeah, there you go. And you also get a phone call from Boler saying, "Hey, I'm Craig Bolerjack.
Welcome to."
Congratulations on being caller number 92. 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. Man, it's cool to hang out with a couple legends.
The best.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's 3.
Well, stop. No.
True.
Yeah, Brant's over there. All right. We'll wrap. We'll do a little sports roulette coming up next. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing.
The best radio in Utah is right here. This is Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaCombe, on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Happy Friday, everybody. How cool is that? Not just Boler, but Alema Harrington. Come on. Doesn't get much better than that.
I felt like I should pay admission for that segment.
Do you know all the good that's going on in Morgan Scalley's life couldn't be directly related to Alema Harrington? Because Alema, after he got done with Utah, brought him on the radio, the original Red and Blue show, put his arm around him and said, "Hey, let me mentor you." And now Morgan Scalley is the head coach of the University of Utah, and it's all because of Alema Harrington.
Absolutely. And you know what's crazy along the way? I'm sure you've got your guys.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I call it like I put little pictures on the mantle of my life. And, people that have helped you through tough times, people that have been there at every turn. You only got a handful of those people. But, man, meaningful.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, time for Sports Roulette. We take some of the big storylines, put it on a roulette wheel. We spin that little white ball, and wherever it lands is what we end up talking about. So with that, Christian, fire it up.
Round 2 tonight.
49ers on the clock. You'll have rounds 2 and 3 tonight, and then the rest of the NFL draft begins tomorrow. But a few surprises. Ty Simpson is now a member of the Rams, even though I don't know what Matthew Stafford thinks of it, but his head coach doesn't look too overly thrilled. So the Rams, even though they look to be just one skill player away from maybe getting back into the Super Bowl, can't get it done. Instead, they go quarterback. Other than that, not a lot of big surprises last night, but 2 offensive linemen go for the University of Utah, as Caleb Lomu will go to New England to play for the Patriots. Logan Fano will go to Cleveland to play for the Browns.
And Pradesh Shadur.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
I mean, that could be good. Starting as of now, it's Cleveland. Who are we kidding?
No, they'll screw it up.
They'll mess it up somehow.
Because it's Cleveland. It's kind of weird how, and you saw this in, the Mountain West or other places where you play. There are just some schools or some organizations. It doesn't matter who they bring in. It doesn't matter, if the AD changes, the owner changes, the coach changes, the GM. They just can't help themselves. There's just a culture. Yeah, the Kings.
The Clippers.
It's just like they try, and sometimes they'll get a little bit better, but it just always fizzles.
The Wizards.
Yeah. You know what you're going to expect out of them every year.
Yeah, and it has to be process. I mean, to me, it has to be process. The bottom line is that is the great differentiator in being able to do it, to be able to build it. And these these second days are huge. You're picking up guys that are going to contribute. As you said, the money goes down a teeny bit, but exciting time for a lot of young dudes. And, the Ty Simpson thing is the only thing that I really could find reading that stood out as a what in the world?
Yeah. Just makes no sense. Makes no sense. All right, go ahead and spin it, Christian.
The Jayhawk has flown from the coop.
All right. Darren Peterson announces today, just a day after A.J. DeBonsa announces that he's going to the NBA. Darren Peterson, he was one and done as expected at Kansas, and now he's on his way to the NBA. So A.J. probably number 1, and then you've got Peterson probably number 2, Boozer number 3. Is that how it kind of feels right now?
I do. I think that whoever wins, in what situation they're in, it could change possibly. There may be somebody absolutely in love with analytics that sees what Boozer did and the lineage. So I do believe odds-on favorites AJ, and it probably should be AJ. But, yeah, Darren Peterson's an interesting one. We talked a little bit about it this week. The one thing you can't do in this situation is develop a hard and fast opinion based on what you've seen. You want to not like the kid, but you don't know any of the reasons behind a lot of things going on. These kids now are so different, and competition is viewed so different. When you play 4 games a day, how important is a game?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the world is different through their eyes, and so the key is through this process now teams got to get in and dig in and really understand what makes him tick, who his people are, what he's driven by, and if he's worthy of getting a pick up there, and he certainly, when he's at his best, certainly looks to be an incredible player.
There was all this situation around Ace Bailey last year, and Ace Bailey falls to 5. The Jazz snag him at 5, and I think there's this concern of what did you just get? And once you peeled back some representation and got him into your facility around your players and your infrastructure, the Jazz struck gold with a genuinely good kid. I think there were a lot of people that thought this kid's going to be a pain in the butt. He shows up, and you're like, wait a minute, no, this is actually a genuinely good human being that's just super young, that hasn't had a lot of good people around him. But once you just peel back those layers, this kid's awesome. And he's a great kid, great ambassador for the Jazz, fun, really well-liked in the locker room, and sometimes what you perceive isn't necessarily the truth.
I mean, that's the perfect example because it's so recent. But the other thing that happens at this time is smoke screens and a lot of, because we live in this world and you don't know, oftentimes you have to research to find what's actually true because there's so much out there. And so in Ace's case, it was a guy who was billed as a little bit of a selfish guy, a guy that would take any shot known to man. You didn't have necessarily the highest IQ and basketball IQ. All those things were floated out there. I watched the tape of him, and I kind of saw the spacing limitations he was playing in. That caused a lot of those issues. And certainly the bottom line is you got a young kid, but the minute he hit the ground here, I've heard nothing but absolute stellar things about him. His willingness to be here, his want to be great, his willingness to pay the price to be great. So he's got all the right stuff. And, that had to be dug, in and around, and that's why that front office does all the work they do.
That's why you spend a lot of money on your scouting department, and you really leave no stone unturned. You don't want to be surprised by anything. Gordy Chiesa used to tell me the story all the time about the Jazz drafting Luther Wright. And that they got PJ Carlissimo on the phone, who was his coach at Seton Hall. And PJ's like, oh, he's a great man and blah, 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 blah. And he shows up and he's a deadbeat, like just no work ethic, doesn't care, doesn't really enjoy the game of basketball. And the Jazz whiffed badly on a pick because they trusted a coach. And that's why a coach, okay, that's one opinion. And then you dig a little deeper, and then you keep digging, and you keep digging, and then you finally talk to the maintenance workers inside the building. How does he treat them? And you just keep going down the list, and then you start building your judgment. But you don't do it off of just one opinion.
No, and that's the big part of it. So, I'm as intrigued as anybody to see what happens with Darren Peterson because – in a lot of ways, if there's good intel, I mean, he could possibly be number one, at the end of the day. But I think right now, as we sit, I think AJ's earned that spot, and it'll be interesting to see it play out.
All right. Go ahead and spin it, Christian.
And the NBA playoffs. Roll on.
They do indeed. You've got 2 1-1 games, Celtics and 76ers. That'll be your early game that will start here in just about an hour from now. That series is tied up at 1 apiece. Your nightcap are the Spurs and the, hey, don't look now, the Trailblazers, who picked up a Game 2 victory. That series is all square at 1 apiece. The Lakers will try to go 3-0 on Houston in a bit of a surprise to the start of that series as well. Write the script for me. What do you think we see tonight?
Well, the Celtics just had it seemed to be a rough game for them shooting the ball, and that's a big part of what they do. I think they were 13 for 50 from 3. The issue at hand is I think the 76ers are far better when they just let Maxey and Edgecombe cook.
Yeah.
They need to get Embiid out of the way. And I think Embiid this summer could be something like you could see them totally flip quick.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to be a tough one for they've got to contain those 2 guards, and they are a handful. I mean, both those guys can beat you on a given night. So they got to be tight, make shots, but I think the Celtics find a way to win there. The Rockets do not look right. They don't look right. They don't play right. It looks like a team we talked about earlier, but the eye test says they hate each other. And, some of the things that came out about KD and his DMs talking about his teammates, I can see maybe why they hate each other.
Yeah.
So I think the Lakers, maybe continue to roll there, although Rockets are home and maybe they get something out of that. The Spurs Trailblazers obviously is all hinging now on the health of Wemby. His concussion protocol. I haven't heard. Is he in tonight or out tonight?
I know he traveled. Okay. I don't know what the latest injury report is.
Well, that's going to be a big one. Obviously, he plays. I think they're going to be fine. But Portland, that was a big win for them. They needed a little bit of luck. unfortunately, the concussion. But I like what they're building there. I think Denny Avdia is a great player. So that should be a fun game, too, but the Spurs win tonight.
Yep, I think you're right. But the Spurs are somewhat pedestrian with Wemby out of the lineup.
They are. And, the one thing he creates is that layer of freakdom that you cannot recreate. And it's what's exciting to me about what the Jazz have done size-wise. They are positionally able to go battle Oklahoma City. They are positionally able size-wise now to go battle San Antonio. Multiple bigs, very physical, shot protector, weak side shot blocker, length all over the place. So not only have the Jazz built a great team, but they thought enough about it. They were thoughtful enough to build it with the teams for the teams they're going to be competing against.
All right, final segment next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Gerard and the coach, Tim Lacombe, right here on the Zone.
Introducing Home Care Plus, a new subscription service from Lowe's that helps make life easier by giving members a hand with home maintenance. Let Lowe's tackle the tasks you keep meaning to do, like electric dryer vent cleaning, replacing hard-to-reach light bulbs, and more. Subscribe to Home Care Plus for just $99 a year and consider your to-do list done. Members get more at Lowe's. Available in select zip codes only. Cancel anytime. Non-refundable fee. Product purchase required. Terms and service restrictions apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
You're locked on to Scotty G and the coach, Tim Lacombe.
Now I know y'all are tripping.
Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, not that I'm an executive. I'm making an executive decision right now. This is now our closing song every day. No more of the na-na-na-na, goodbye. Nope, this right here, Free Bird. What a great way to end a show.
Because what we want to do, bring everybody in as they can come in, hang, as long as you can hang. We'll treat you great. We'll give you knowledge, and then you fly off on your own.
Yeah.
And impart that to everybody else.
I always get a little nervous when we talk about flying and Leonard Skinner, but,
Oof. Have you ever seen Skinner, or what's left of Skinner?
Yes, I've not.
I saw them with Dave Rose and Quincy Lewis out at USANA. I swear to you.
You, Dave Rose, Quincy Lewis.
That's
an interesting trio going to a concert.
Yeah,
right
we had
there.
a little box that somebody let us go sit in, and we went out there. I'm telling you, they rocked my socks. But I'm looking at them. There's one or two, and then they've got all these young.
Oh yeah. When I saw the last time I saw the Eagles, and I was just like, no, this isn't right.
I saw them the last time as a group.
Oh, did you?
With Glenn. Yep. They came through Salt Lake about a year before. So I did get to see them in full force.
Yeah. I was going to go see him down at the Sphere in Vegas, and I saw there's just I don't want to see just a bunch of youngs. It's a cover band almost.
Yeah, but I mean, so are we. So sometimes you can have good ones.
Well, I know, but I'm not spending $150 a ticket. Yeah,
you're right. Hey, who do you like? What's your band? What's your music fare over there, Mr. Tyler?
It's crazy.
You listen to everything?
I mean, I'm from rap to Mormon Tabernacle Choir.
Okay, you lost me there, but
No, the good Motab. I'm not hating
a good
on
Motab with. I mean,
I can do Battle Hymn.
Yeah, I mean the Battle Hymn of the Republic in the right setting.
Christmas time, throwing the best of.
So I mean, I go from Pavarotti to, I mean, I'm all over the place.
80s rock.
Yeah, 80s
like
rock.
That.
I will get. I mean, AC/DC.
Yeah.
Back in Black. Don't get it twisted. I will absolutely jam to that. That was my song before we'd go to the church basketball game, get everybody pumped up.
But you listen to Have a Drink on Me and go ball out.
Church basketball where the fight begins with a prayer.
Yes.
Always
nice
fun.
to see you.
Bam. Yep. Please bless, we'll all get along, and nobody does.
It's kind of like the relationship between coaches. It's so phony. Like the startup, you see it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Like the coaches over there saying, I hate this guy so bad. And then he comes over, hey, what's going on? Great to see you.
You guys are having a great year.
The referees and the coaches before the game. Oh.
So true.
The silly, small talk that I'll watch, and I can't hear anything, but you can tell both of them are like, I know we have to do this because the camera's on.
Doing good?
Nobody wants to do this.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Doing good.
We're ready. You ready? Okay.
All right.
And once in a while, a coach loses his mind.
That's the fun part.
And then it gets real interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised it doesn't happen more, as competitive as these guys are.
You're right.
One of the craziest ones I was involved in that regard, I worked for Coach Majerus. I didn't go make the trip, but they went to Maui. And he was not a guy who rode the officials. You know, as you'd be surprised, he would just coach his team. He wouldn't even, like, that's a travel. He wouldn't do any of that. But it would build up to the point where then he would just lose it. And he went down to the end of the bench, and the water cooler, he just turned the whole thing over. It flew all over the place in that little Maui gym. And, yeah, they kept showing that over and over. He was not a happy man that night.
Your guy, Randy Bennett, and Ryan Odom almost came to blows in Logan.
Really?
Yeah, and St. Mary's came, and there was a late foul. I remember Justin Bean got hit with a foul. It was a tie game. Utah State was holding for the last shot. Ryland Jones had a good look, couldn't knock down the three. Justin Bean fights for the rebound with 1 second left. They call a foul on Bean. They're in the double bonus, and St. Mary's hits both free throws, and that's how the game ends.
Oh.
And Randy Bennett and Ryan Odom, who Ryan looks like he's just calm, collect all the time, but he was a fiery son of a gun. They come and they start barking it, and my my crowd mic is right there at the table, and it's cranked so I can hear all the crowd and all that stuff. And boy, after about the fifth F-bomb, I'm like, oh, we got to turn that down. That's going over the air right now. But yeah, that was nasty. And it almost got out of hand real quick. Although I would take Randy Bennett over Ryan Odom in a fight any day of the week.
Oh, yeah. He just lowers center of gravity.
Yeah. Ryan Odom would be like, hey, he's like Anchorman, just don't touch the face.
No, Randy, you go back and watch he would bite your kneecap. He's one of those guys.
Yeah,
he would do whatever it takes to beat you.
Jerry Sloan.
Yes, a lot like that.
All right, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake and Ben coming up next right here on the Zone.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.